only at CC's. Better, believe it. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer begins next, but now your forecast, a service of aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
We'll have a couple of showers and heavy thunderstorms around into the early afternoon, mostly cloudy and windy otherwise. Thunderstorms can bring damaging winds, high today 65. Cloudy and cooler tonight, low 39. I'm Holly Holdren on AM 560, The Answer.
Sorry, Holly, we all look alike on the radio. 39 degrees at the lakefront, 40 at Midway, and 40 at O'Hare. Next, News 530. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the New American Funding Show, walking you through stress-free mortgage options. Sunday afternoons at 1 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So it's April Fool's Day.
Oh, yeah. So it's all a big joke, right? CTU is not going to have a one-day strike. That was all a big ha-ha.
I think they've got a big doozy plan for taxpayers. So the joke is on taxpayers yet again, as well as anybody trying to make their way around the city center this afternoon. What's the program for the strike? You're in tune on this with Peyton and Eli out of school.
Yeah, and all the parents are going, Dan. Everybody's doing it, but I'm not going to be like the cool kids. I'm not going to be marching outside our school. And then they're converging at different universities. And then the goal is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, everyone is going to meet in front of the Thompson Center. And then they're going to walk around the blocks as much as they can to try and create as much havoc and on hardworking Chicagoans who just want to get home after a long week of work on a Friday afternoon. Mm-hmm. So they have no regard for other people who are working.
Well, I mean, it's a protest.
I know it's a protest. I know that some people from Black Lives Matter are going to be there.
Well, that'll spice
some other
things
unions.
up.
Your favorite, Ask Me, is going to be there, Dan. Does that entice you to go? And SEIU is going to be there.
And what they're doing, because they can't kind of stand on their own 2 feet, they don't want to make this so obvious that it is simply about the distribution of the pension contribution teachers have to make.
Yeah.
They're doing this in concert with universities that are also crying foul, despite the fact that universities in Illinois are receive twice as much funding from the state as do their conference competitors in neighboring states, and still in-state tuition is 40% higher here than as with conference competitors in neighboring states. So they're doing with kind of all
education,
all of the people in Illinois in the public sector who think they deserve a blank check. That's what it really was. This is the blank check protest.
And yesterday was great because one of the teachers during pickup said, well, also, too, we want to get paid snow days. Really? When was the last time we had a snow day or a cold day? Because I can't remember. We hadn't had one this year, and unless there's a nasty one in the spring, but they're trying to deflect from what the real issue is, and that's all about the pensions.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, it's finally
good,
the eye on the prize, the snow day, the paid snow day. There's somebody who is focused on the structural problems within the system. There's somebody that is focused on educating children, and so that's what I appreciate. Finally, someone is talking about the paid snow day. So that's it. By the way, that also comes against the backdrop of this, that Chicago, this is making national news. We've talked about it, but the nation is picking up on this. Chicago off to its deadliest start in nearly 2 decades. Talked about the nearly 75% increase in murders this year as compared to the same time last year. So it's not just comparing it to last year. It actually goes back to represent the worst first quarter in terms of killings in Chicago since,
Dan,
since 1999.
Sorry for interrupting, but remember, nobody was killed Easter Sunday. That was a very big deal. There was not one homicide.
That was a
story. So the
story.
day of our Lord's resurrection. Oh, yeah, and I know I keep talking about my neighbor who moved to Holland. She said that was all over their news there, that wow, congratulations. And it was a, mocking little congratulations, Chicago. No one got shot or killed on Easter.
At the corporate,
Way to go.
At the corporate boundaries, we should have one of those big, those big signs that you have in workplaces, particularly manufacturing workplaces. It's been so many days since an injury in the workplace.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So we'll have like one, and then we'll be starting over. So it'll either be 0 or 1 in Chicago. But it would be great to allow people to play along. And I know a lot of people say, well, that's just it's just in certain neighborhoods mainly. It's just gangbangers killing each other. Well, first of all, that hardly excuses it. That hardly suggests it's something to be tolerated, because kids are dumb and they don't have proper oversight and get roped into gangs doesn't mean I want them dueling on the streets with 45s and dying. There are people that have kids that have joined gangs and then they have gotten out of gangs and gone on to live productive lives. I think that's the goal. Secondly, do innocents get caught in the crossfire of gang violence?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And thirdly, and here's the point for, the folks like me who live in the few wards in the city that are revenue producing and that are otherwise relatively safe because we've got police positioned on every quarter block. You think that the whole city can burn down around the 6 to 10 wards that are the revenue producers that are relatively vibrant, relatively safe, and it's not going to impact those other 6 to 10 wards? How naive is that?
I'm looking at something that's really disturbing. I don't know if you've heard about this, but a Chicago man, he was live Facebooking. Have you ever done that, Dan, where you live Facebook? And it captures a moment.
I'm always
live
when
Facebook.
You post something, isn't that a live
No,
Facebook?
he's streaming live. And he's shot by an assailant on the street. It is very graphic. It almost looks surreal, but this is he appeared to capture the moment that he was shot by an assailant on the street, and the graphic video surfaced yesterday on social media, showed an identified man standing in front of a convenience store talking to his followers before a barrage of gunfire. And he was wearing a White Sox cap. He joked in his video that the owners of the store had to open it up because he needed somewhere to duck and hide for cover. So he's mocking the situation. And then a guy comes in and starts shooting and fires off about 7 rounds. That's going to make national news again and probably go around the world. It's just crazy.
Well, that's Chicago. This is an interesting piece in Crain's from Timothy Benson, who's a staffer at the Heartland Institute, which is a free market think tank here, responding to the day of action today, and suggesting that let's strike back. Chicago, and we've talked about Chicago teachers' compensation and pensions and the state of affairs financially for the city. He's got an idea, propose a strike voucher program. That's what the Heartland Institute is going to do today. The strike voucher will allow any student from a CPS school to leave temporarily for any school not run by the district. Any charter, secular, private, or parochial school in the district with room to take in additional students would be given a stipend of $50 per day for each student it welcomes through its doors. Funding the daily stipend will come out of the Strike Makeup Day Pay Fund, which is compensation union teachers get for any strike days made up later in the year. How about that? So, if it's really for the kids and you've got a labor management issue, then let's take some of that funding and make sure kids aren't out of school and allow them to attend another school for the duration that their school is closed maybe make that, maybe if it works, maybe we could scale it even.
Really?
So that we give choice to people that don't have choice because of their household income and address.
Who's going to have blood on their hands today if a CPS student who should be in school is shot on the streets of Chicago? Because that would be horrific if that happened.
Well, because
all these kids aren't going to their safe places, the 250 designated places where you can get a free brunch or breakfast and lunch. They're not doing that.
That's called the schools.
Well, okay.
Yeah. The headline today is the majority of 380,000 students in Chicago are not going to be educated. But that's the headline every day.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, some showers and thunderstorms throughout the day. Otherwise, it'll be cloudy and windy, a high of 65 degrees. Late tonight, we could see some of that light rain turn into some light snow. No big deal. The low tonight of 39 degrees. Let's see how that outbound Kennedy's doing. There's a crash. Here's Jim Talamonte with the details.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Good Friday morning. Well, on the Kennedy, roads are wet. That outbound crash near Bryn Mawr is gone now, so things are looking pretty good. We're not seeing any delays, and traffic volume is light. And in general, it may be lighter than usual, given that kids won't be on their way to school anyway, or teachers. But then again, there will be protests and demonstrations outside schools starting this morning. In fact, starting in just over an hour. So you could have some issues here and there, as Dan and Amy have mentioned. And as far as public transit goes, well, for Chicago Public Schools students, rides are free today on the CTA for those going to those schools, parks, and libraries, which are called safe locations. Non-public school students pay their own way, apparently. On the Pink Line, there's still no service between Polk and the Loop. Passengers can transfer to the Blue Line at Racine. Again, right now, expressways and tollways are wet. The traffic volume is light, with no crashes or blockages to report. Jim Talamonte, the Chicago and the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home? Then you need to do what I did and call David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. Now, Stacy's heard hundreds of David's ads, but wanted to contact a realtor before purchasing a home in Plainfield. Bad move. Not getting pre-qualified by David before speaking with a realtor is like sunbathing at the equator without suntan lotion. David answered Stacy's questions, pre-qualified her to purchase a home, and introduced her to Ron Wexler, his Home Sweet Home Chicago radio show's realtor in Plainfield, to purchase that home. Now, purchasing a home can be overwhelming, but it won't be if you call David first. David can pre-qualify you for free and introduce you to his team of preferred realtors who will locate that perfect home for you. Now, if you're purchasing a home and you want to work with a team of real estate experts that'll always look out for your financial best interests, call David first. Here's his number, 312-751-1333. Wake him up. Call him right now, 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. David helped me, and he's helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender. Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186.
There are two kinds of pain. Pain that goes away and the worst kind, chronic pain. If you suffer from chronic pain, life is not complete and it can be miserable. Unfortunately, most people use narcotics that mask the pain. You need to find the source of the chronic pain and get relief.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders, as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation, located here in Chicago. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers in the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
Hello, my name is Barbara Walters, and although I'm not famous as the Barbara Walters that you're thinking of, I am indeed famous for something that has more value to you. Redefining the word easy with a mortgage from Ameritrust Mortgage. You've got my word, or my name isn't Barbara Walters. Our professional staff here actually underwrites, approves, and closes your loan for you, and not for just new loans. If your current mortgage rate is above 4%, you can get an automatic reduction, no qualifying, no appraisal on any FHA or VA loan. You literally just have to call us to find out what you'll save. We will take care of the rest. Find out why everyone talks to Ameritrust about their mortgage. Call Ameritrust Mortgage at 815-459-7303. That's 815-459-7303. Or visit am560myhome.com.
Ameritrust Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Illinois residential mortgage licensee number 720. NMLS number 217229.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we're talking about the Chicago teachers walkout today and rally at the Thompson Center and in the Loop this afternoon. But also, if you think that it is only Chicago Public School Teachers Union bosses that believe math is an opinion, you're wrong. And if you believe that it's only those individuals there who believe in redistribution from those without means to them with means, you're wrong there too. This piece in Crain's about higher ed, before we get to Chicago police, Chicago police arresting educators. Yeah, and let's see if that happens today.
Well, you know what? If they block traffic, there's a good possibility, and if they don't move when they're told to move, they will arrest them.
Well, this piece from Erica Miners, a professor of education and gender and women's studies, at Northeastern Illinois. She's got an idea.
I took that class at Iowa.
Yeah.
I'll bring in my mini dissertation, Dan. We could read it for 4 hours on the air if you like.
Must have been a tough commute to Northeastern Illinois from Iowa.
No, I said I took a similar class at the University of Iowa.
I see. Oh, I'm sure.
Come on, work with me.
I'm sure it was enlightening.
Yes, it was.
She has a proposal regarding the funding cuts, quote unquote, that they're enduring at the higher ed level with no budget at the state level. The University of Chicago and similarly well-endowed private institutions, should share their assets with Chicago State, Northeastern Illinois, and other struggling public schools. Better yet, why not nationalize the private universities so that all students in Chicago from all communities can benefit from their excellent resources? What about that? You're a U of C, Northwestern grad, other private schools, or other well-functioning public schools, I suppose. You feel like subsidizing or being forced to subsidize Northeastern Illinois and Chicago State in the interest of fairness?
Isn't that what districts are doing around the state for us at Chicago Public Schools?
Yes, 51% of CPS funded by the state. Sure.
So why not just keep it going? Let's take it to higher education.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. You don't actually have private schools literally funding CPS. You have you have private school parents paying tuition as well as funding CPS. Yes, but boy, isn't that interesting? Let me try this fundraising pitch out on you. I'm the development officer for University of Chicago, and you're a successful University of Chicago grad who's looking to make a donation to the school that helped you launch your successful career. Here's my pitch. I'd like you to give $1 million over the course of the next 3 years.
And sir, where would my funds be going?
That's a good question. What we'd like to do...
You going to name a building after me?
Well, what we would like to... For $1 million?
No.
$100 million. That's the $100 million
Dang it.
level. For $1 million,
yes,
we will endow a professorship in electrical engineering, which, of course, was your major. And you went on to great success. You found this company, success. Millions and millions of dollars. We'll endow a professorship. Except that professorship's actually going to be at Northeastern Illinois University.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I'm not sold, and I will not be doing it.
I mean, these
How many phone calls do you get, by the way, from Northwestern?
All
the time, or do they know, oh, damn, would they see you on the list like, oh, yeah, I'm not calling him. You call him. I'm not calling him.
I think I've made my position clear on phone calls and in writing. I would sooner give to Northeastern Illinois and endow Erica Miner's professorship in gender and women's studies than donate to Northwestern. But, I mean, just to understand who you're hearing from when you hear screeching from the hallowed halls of academia in this state and the ideas kicking around in the heads of people that are teaching the fraction, a third roughly, the fraction of college-bound high school seniors. This should be frightening stuff. Frightening stuff. But more frightening than that and more immediate, we were talking briefly about gun violence. Well, just violence in the city of Chicago generally, murders at their highest level in the first quarter since 1999. And there's something else going on, too.
What?
So murders are up 75% compared to this time last year.
Yeah, 727 people have been shot. Nine people shot yesterday, including that guy in the Facebook posting who's in critical condition this morning. But go on.
And Chicago police stops down 90%. I mean, these numbers are staggering. From the start of the year to last week, Chicago police made 20,908 investigative stops. That's according to DNAinfo.com story. Last year, same period, 157,000.
Oh my God.
20,000 this year, 157,000 last year. So stops are down 90%. Murders are up 75%. I won't go so far as to say there's a causal link, but it seems correlative. And do we have a Rahm effect?
Oh, yeah, we do. I mean, my copper friends tell me, Amy, why would I want to pull anyone over? They could accuse me of racial profiling. It's too dangerous right now. And later at 6:15, we're going to have Brian Warner on. He's a Chicago police officer who was shot on the line of duty, who knows exactly what's going on. And people, Dan, they don't want to lose their houses. They don't want to lose their jobs. They're afraid they're, working in the fetal position, essentially. Because one wrong move, and you could have a civil lawsuit thrown against you. You could have a criminal lawsuit thrown against you, and it's not worth it. So why do their jobs?
Well,
I know we're paying them with our tax dollars to do their jobs, but I understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Well, and yesterday, the story came out that Jason Van Dyke, who is the police officer who shot and killed Laquan McDonald, has been hired by the Fraternal Order of Police to do some work while he awaits trial.
Oh, yeah. And that didn't sit well with the African-American community and the Black Lives Matter group. They had 3 protests in front of FOP, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and one last night. Now, granted, there weren't a ton of people there, but there were news cameras there covering, the smattering of protesters there. Father Flagler was out there.
Of course he was.
And they think it's racist. Now, help me with this one. They think it's racist that the FOP would hire a black killer.
Jebediah Brown.
Jebediah.
He has, and do you know who Jebediah Brown is? You shouldn't. So don't worry about the fact that you don't. Well, I know you know.
Yeah, he's the guy who stormed the stage at the Trump rally, and then he's the guy. Whenever they talk about civil unrest at a Trump rally, they show the picture of him punching a white Trump supporter.
So,
and he wasn't. He should be behind bars, but he's running for alderman.
Of course he is.
Of course, yeah, handpicked by Rahm Emanuel.
I'm sure he's been endorsed by Father Flagler as well, and Jesse and the whole gang. But he said that is a declaration of war.
Oh, really?
The hiring of Jason Van Dyke by the Fraternal Order of Police. So now you've got these professional agitators and maybe future politician.
Do you know what he's doing? He's a janitor there. He's getting paid $12 an hour.
Jebediah Brown? Or
no.
Oh, Jason
Van Dyke.
Yeah.
And they're protesting that. He wants to work to support his family. He has no income coming in. He's on Obamacare. I mean, you'll hear more about his life and what he's been going through. But
I want to find out.
Do they want that job? Anyone protesting? Do you want to take that job?
I want to find a safe space in Chicago where I neither have to affiliate with Jason Van Dyke or Jebediah Brown.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Now that spring has arrived, it's likely you're looking forward to the warmer weather. But if you're a business owner, facilities manager, or maintenance engineer, you risk the same potential problem every year. A complete system failure. In fact, up to half of all commercial air conditioning units fail upon startup each season due to the lack of regular maintenance and repair. Let the professionals at Air Comfort make a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system before there's a problem. A poorly operating air conditioning system results in uneven temperatures and humidity problems, leading to unhealthy mold and mildew growth. Don't compromise your business's overall air quality. Schedule today with Air Comfort. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Even if you're under contract with another provider, let Air Comfort provide your second opinion. After all, there's a reason why hundreds of businesses have trusted Air Comfort with their mechanical maintenance for more than 80 years. That's Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935.
If medications haven't helped you treat your depression, why haven't you tried TMS therapy offered by Theramind? Now there is a way to successfully treat your depression without the need for meds and their harmful side effects. TMS therapy is covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois and Medicare. So don't continue to suffer needlessly. Call Theramind right now, 847-562-5868. That's 847-562-5868. It's the single greatest advancement to date in treating depression. It's TMS, an FDA-cleared, non-drug, safe and effective treatment. Now, TMS has already changed the lives of over 50,000 patients, so why not you? Visit them at tmsmind.com. That's tmsmind.com or call 847-562-5868. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Is this the beginning of the end for Trump? I know we've asked that question many times over the last 8 months, but we really mean it this time at 5:37.
And the women of Wisconsin speak. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Dave Stewart in for Mike Scott.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning, and good morning, Dan. 40 degrees in Chicago at 5:32 on AM 560. The Answer. Cloudy, breezy, cooler today. Showers possible and a high of 50. Many schools will be open today, but the teachers won't be there. It's a one-day strike called by the union to complain about the state budget and lack of funding. Union Chief Karen Lewis.
The issue around the entire day is it's about revenue, and it's going to have to be about revenue, which is why we have more people joining us.
Rallies planned later today, but in the meantime, students are being accommodated at some schools, park buildings, and libraries. Chicago's coming off another day of violent shootings. People say 7 people shot in 2 separate incidents yesterday within minutes of each other. A man and a woman were killed and a 16-year-old boy wounded in gunfire near Kildare and Wilcox. Moments later, 4 people injured in a shooting at the intersection of 68th and Troop Streets. An investigation is underway after a boy died at a home for troubled youth in north suburban Lake Villa. Authorities say the child was found unresponsive Wednesday night at the Allendale Association. Virginia State Police say a trooper shot at a Richmond bus station has died. Police Colonel Stephen Flaherty said yesterday that Trooper Chad Dermeyer started to talk with the suspect.
During the course of talking with the male subject pulled out a handgun and shot Chad multiple times.
2 troopers returned fire, injuring the suspect who later died. He's been identified as John Brown of Aurora, Illinois, who has a long record and a long hatred of police, reportedly. Republican candidate Donald Trump wants to keep the party together, he says. Trump says he had a, quote, very nice meeting with Republican National Committee Chairman Reince Priebus about party unity. In sports, Bulls came back to beat the Rockets 103-100. The Sox are in Winnipeg tonight, or rather, the Blackhawks are in Winnipeg tonight. In the final in baseball yesterday was the Cubs over the Mets 5-1 in Las Vegas. The news service of CiCi's Pizza. Are you ready for an adventure in flavor? CiCi's brings 3 new flatbread pizzas to the unlimited buffet. Try the new Spinach Alfredo, Chicken Bacon Club, and Honey Barbecue Chicken. More flavor to explore for the same great value. Just $5 and change. Only at CiCi's. Better believe it. AM 560 News Time, 5:34. How bad's the traffic? We'll have the answer in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
I believe what we need in America today is more love and kindness.
The Joe Walsh Show.
We've had so much love and kindness. We have been like parents who have indulged our kids. Parents who've never said no. Parents who've never set a curfew. We don't need love and kindness. This country needs a kick in the butt.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
In business, risks and rewards come with every decision, like moving to the cloud with Office 365. While its benefits include anywhere access and lower costs, cyber threats and user errors can quickly wipe out data and the money you save. Barracuda Essentials for Office 365 provide an added layer of security and functionality for threat protection, email migration, data recovery, and quality of service. Move securely to Office 365. Visit barracuda.com/essentials to learn more.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
At 5:36, let's see how the Friday morning commute's gearing up. From the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, David. Right now, the expressways are lighter than usual, but there is a delay on the inbound Bishop Ford. It's from 103rd to Cottage Grove, where there's a crash on the right shoulder. Just a 2-minute delay, 17 minutes, 8094 to the Ryan. The Ryan still looks good. No delays to report on the Edens, the Kennedy, the Eisenhower, the Stevenson. Eastbound Adams Tollway, I-90 traffic is heavy from Lee to just before the Tri-State, where a crash quickly cleared. The other tollways are delay-free. This being April 1st, Chicago's winter overnight parking ban has ended. Well, it's now street sweeping season. CTA Pink Line service is still suspended between Polk and the Loop due to Monday's fire damage in a signal house. Traffic is a service of GoToMeeting. Be a meeting MVP. GoToMeeting is the online meeting tool that lets you easily collaborate and present from anywhere with one click, so you always put on your best performance. Step up your meeting game and start your free trial at GoToMeeting.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now your forecast, a service of aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Mostly cloudy, breezy, cooler today, couple of showers and a high of 50. Evening rain, maybe a snow shower tonight, colder, low 31. Very windy, partly sunny and chilly with a shower tomorrow and a high of 45. Right now, it's 40 at O'Hare. Next news, 6 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Now, more of Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Power Trading Radio. Heard Sundays at 2 p.m. Brought to you each week by Online Trading Academy.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, the question, will Wisconsin be Donald Trump's Stalingrad, Waterloo, Little Bighorn? Pick the historical battle of your liking. It has been compared, it is suggested by Mike Murphy, who not exactly had his finger on the pulse of the electorate this cycle. Mike Murphy, who formerly ran the Jeb Bush super PAC, that it will be his Stalingrad. This is the Soviet kill shot Wisconsin will be. Kim Strassel in the Washington Journal relay says
the hyperbole. Go on.
Yes.
I just said with can Wisconsin stop Trump? That's my
no.
simplistic
You got to make it colorful.
headline.
No. It's got to be of historical proportion. Waterloo, Kim Strassel writes in the Wall Street Journal. This is going to be like Napoleon's Waterloo for Napoleon, Little Bighorn for Custer, and so on. A Fox Business poll out yesterday has Cruz with a 10-point lead, confirming what the Marquette poll had previously. However,
yes,
PPP, public policy polling, had the race 1 point.
PPP.
1 point.
Had it at 1 point?
Yeah, had Cruz up by 1, so dead heat. So, we'll see.
And then don't forget our guy Kasich. Because he's doing better. In the one poll, the Marquette University, he's at 21%.
It's still,
which is good.
Still a bit back from the other two, though. It doesn't look like he's poised to spring an upset.
No, but did you hear what he said last night? He said he's going to have to consult with his wife and daughters and then decide whether or not he could support Donald Trump if he is the front runner.
Well, so did anything? Well, so I guess that's one question.
Yeah.
What happens is if Cruz wins Wisconsin? Is that the beginning of the end for Trump? Is that effectively where the race turns and Trump begins to really be marginalized? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. The other question is, did what Trump said about abortion 2 days ago and then yesterday, did it matter to you? Is it affecting your vote? Are you embarrassed if you're a Trump supporter? If you were a maybe Trump supporter, are you now a stop Trump supporter?
Never Trump supporter?
Or even go so far as a never Trump supporter.
Don't make me whip out my hashtag never Trump. But yeah, I was highly insulted. What he said was insensitive. He doesn't think before he speaks. And he's a loose cannon, and I don't want someone like that to be president.
Well, here's Robert George. I mean, just in terms of dispensing with the issue of pro-life.
Yes.
Robert George, the renowned professor at Princeton, these are people who have been embedded in the pro-life movement since its inception.
Okay.
He writes in First Things, Trump is no pro-lifer. When candidates for high office are faking it in order to persuade a party's base that appearances and past records to the contrary notwithstanding, they really, really are with the program, they step into dangerous territory. They need to say what the base wants to hear. Indeed, they need to sound like one of the faithful. But since they're faking it and not actually speaking from conviction, The risk is grave that they will say something that blows their cover. Indeed, the risk is always there. They will say something that sounds to true believers like a caricature or burlesque of the philosophy they are purporting to embrace. That's what happened to Trump, and he actually has an interesting comparison. Remember when Mitt Romney, in responding to a challenge to the authenticity of his conservatism, proclaimed himself to be severely conservative?
Oh, that's
remember
right.
that in 2012?
Yeah, it's a symptom. I'm not just conservative. I've got severe conservatism.
Well, right. And so
it was great.
That was the tell that he's not a conservative, because no true conservative would ever describe themselves as severely conservative, like as you described, like it's a medical condition.
Donald Trump is severely pro-life. I mean, to the point where he wants to take legal action against women who've had abortions.
Well, he succeeded, according to Robert George and me, in showing pro-life Americans he's not one of us. And by the way, before we get to Trump's recasting of his position, that is a position echoed by Eric Scheidler from the Pro-Life Action League, Father Frank Pavone from Priests for Life, Gene Mancini, March for Life Education Defense Fund, Marjorie Dannenfelser, who's president of the Susan B. Anthony List, Tony Perkins, Family Research Council. Shall I go on?
No, the list does go on and on, from the right and from the left. But I'll tell you, Donald Trump supporters, they took to our, turnkey.pro text line saying, you guys are presenting this wrong. The question was a hypothetical. What if it were made, abortion was, Roe versus Wade went away,
I know,
and abortion was
right.
illegal? And I said, we talked about that, but we got so many text messages yesterday.
Well, of course it was
saying that.
Of course it was a hypothetical. Here's what happens in a presidential campaign. You're asked hypothetical questions like, what would you do if you were president of the United States on this issue and that issue? It is malpractice for a candidate not to be prepared for that question if you take the pro-life position. And because Donald Trump is inauthentically pro-life, and because he has never thought about this issue, given any serious thought to this issue, as is the case on so many issues, he got trapped by someone as ham-handed as Chris Matthews. And you know how Trump knows that he actually hurt himself this time?
He was quiet for 3 hours yesterday when he was meeting with GOP leaders?
Well, right. He met with Reince Priebus yesterday. But I would say, you know how you know that this actually hurt him, and he's not getting away with this. He's actually taking on water, and he feels it from his ignorant statement in this space, this time, is because he's done a complete 180, and he's trying to muddy the water about that exchange with Chris Matthews. He went on O'Reilly last night. And he said this about his view and what happened in that Chris Matthews interview.
You really had to hear the whole thing. I mean, this was a long, convoluted question. This was a long discussion, and they just cut it out. And frankly, it was really convoluted. And if, in fact, abortion was outlawed, the person performing the abortion, the doctor or whoever it may be, that's really doing the act or is responsible for the act, not the woman is responsible. So that's the way I've always felt. I've had the same stance exactly as Ronald Reagan. I mean, I've had it from the beginning. So my stance is the exact same as Ronald Reagan.
He has had that position from the beginning of 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, but we're not idiots. I mean, I have it. Can I play it here? The question that was asked and the answer that was given.
Should the woman be punished for having an abortion?
Look.
And this is not something you can dodge. If you say abortion is a crime or abortion is murder, you have to deal with it under the law. Should abortion be punished?
Well, people in certain parts of the Republican Party and conservative Republicans would say yes, they should be punished.
How about you?
No, they wouldn't.
I would say that it's a very serious problem, and it's a problem that we have to decide on. It's very hard.
But you're forbidding
Are you going to
it.
say, well, wait, are you going to say put them in jail? Is that
Well,
the
no, what I'm
punishment that
asking
you're
you,
talking about?
because you say you want to ban it. What's that mean?
I am pro-life, yes.
What is ban? How do you ban abortion? How do you actually do it?
Well, you'll go back to a position like they had where people will perhaps go to illegal places.
Yeah.
But you have to ban it.
You ban it and they go to somebody who flunked out of medical school.
Are you Catholic?
Yes, I think I
And how do you feel about the Catholic Church's position?
I accept the teaching authority of my church on moral issues.
But do you know their position on abortion?
Yes, I do.
And do you concur with that position?
I concur with their moral position, but legally, I get to the question. Here's my problem with it.
No, but let me ask you, but what do you say about
It's not funny.
Your church? Yeah, it's really not a funny thing. What do you say about your church? They're very, very strong.
They're allowed to, but the churches make their moral judgments, but you running for president of the United States will be chief executive of the United States. Do you believe believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
10 cents, 10 years,
I don't
what?
know. That I don't know. That
Why
I don't
not?
know. I don't know.
You take positions and everything else.
I do take positions and everything else. It's a very complicated position.
So Trump is right about one thing. That was a convoluted conversation, both about abortion and Catholicism. And neither one of them has a clue what they're talking about.
No.
But it was not a confusing question. It was just a confusing answer. There is so much wrong with that answer, beginning with the fact that he characterizes other people incorrectly, just as
saying Republicans and conservative Republicans would want women punished.
Here's a little historical note.
Mm-hmm.
In the last 100 years, so 57 of which existed prior to Roe v. Wade, there were 2 prosecutions of women along with their abortionist in cases where a woman had gotten an abortion.
Really?
The most recent one, 1922. In point of fact, and both, by the way, were
charges were dropped or
dismissed.
exonerated.
Yeah, and so in point of fact, pre-Roe v. Wade, 20 states had statutes that specifically exempted women who had the abortion from prosecution. So it was not the culture pre-Roe v. Wade, and neither was that back alley stuff that Chris Matthews is talking about is apocryphal largely as well. But that was not the culture, and it has never been the position of the pro-life movement as exemplified by all of those leaders I cited since Roe v. Wade. So it is not possible for Donald Trump to be more wrong about what he said. Everything he said is wrong, including the fact that he's pro-life. Joe, on the Northwest Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I back Donald Trump 100% for what he said. If abortion is illegal and a woman kills her baby, yes, she should go to prison. Look, Dan, this is not any different than what the Romans did to the Christians, put them in the arena. That was perfectly legal back then.
That's best practices. That's best practices.
Public floggings at the school.
What are you talking about? The Romans and the Christians.
Let me finish. Let me get my idea in.
All right.
Thought in. Okay. The Nazis, what they did to the Jews, that was perfectly legal in their minds. This is what's wrong with this country. We think killing babies is perfectly normal, just like those societies did, and it's got to stop.
Okay, Joe, and you think that prosecuting women is the way to make it stop?
Yes.
Well,
they did the murder. They did the murder.
Thanks for the call, Joe. Thanks for the call, Joe. I get it. I completely disagree, and I can only restate it so many times, but it's important because it's playing into the caricature of the pro-aborts of the pro-life movement. It is not the position of the pro-life movement, any recognized leader within the pro-life movement, and frankly, anybody who's thought about this, and it wasn't the culture pre-Roe v. Wade. Tom in Schaumburg.
First of all, abortions are not going to go away until such time as every abortion clinic in this country goes out of business due to lack of business.
Yeah, but that's not the question. That's not the question.
Only when the American women decide they no longer want to do this are abortions going to go away. Secondly, what was really missed in that discussion with Chris Matthews is whether or not his leg still shivers up and down when he hears Obama speak.
Yes, thanks for the call, Tom. Ann on the North Side.
Yes, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. If the abortion doctor doesn't get punished and the woman can't get punished, is the baby the only one that gets punished?
Well, Ann, if the law was changed such that abortion was prohibited, the abortionist would be punished. That's the point.
You have pro-choice. That means a woman can be married and have a child or single and have a child. That's the choice, not to have a child and murder it.
Thanks, Ann.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Soggy start to your Friday. 40 degrees right now at O'Hare, going up to a high of 65 degrees. And we're going to have thunderstorms on and off throughout the day. It'll be cloudy and windy otherwise. Tonight, a low of 39. We might see that rain turn into snow showers. And Saturday morning, some showers, very windy, a high of 45 degrees. And on Sunday, good news is no rain in the forecast, mostly sunny, still windy, but a high near 60 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Bishopford inbound. It's heavy from 111th to Cottage Grove with a crash on the right shoulder. 18 minutes, 80-94 to the Rhine. Outbound Font at 15. The Rhine now has stop-and-go traffic from 31st to the Burn Circle. 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound Font at 15. The Edens and the Kennedy are delay-free. Inbound Eisenhower at Ashland. There's a crash in the right lane. Prepare to slow down there. Stevenson still good. No delays to report on the tollways or in northwest Indiana. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Hey, the school year is coming to an end, so even though your kids aren't thinking about the next school year, you should be, especially if you want to send your kids to a private school. Now, you might think that there's no way you could ever afford to do that. Well, we want to remind you about halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you'll find dozens of local private schools that are offering vouchers for a full year of tuition at half the price. There's no catch. It's very simple. Find a school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. HalfPriceSchools.com has schools located all across the Chicagoland area, including Grayslake, Westchester, Downers Grove, Wheaton, land of the pretty people, Algonquin, Roselle, and Chicago, and Arlington Heights. So start thinking about back to school today. This might make private schools a real option for your family for the first time, but do not wait. These vouchers always sell out before classes resume this fall. So visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Hey, if you need to sell your home in Chicagoland, Sean Hannity here with some very important facts that you need to know. Now, 40% of homes hitting the market in Chicago are not selling. Now, those are horrible odds. You need to call Saul Z and the Z team based right here in Chicagoland. Now, Saul sells a home on average every 24 hours and attracts hundreds of buyers every month locally, nationally, and internationally. The Wall Street Journal ranks Saul's team in the top 110 teams out of 1.2 million agents in the U.S. Just call the agent I would call if I needed to sell my home and lived in Chicagoland. Call Saul now at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666. Or go online at callsaul.net. That's callsaul.net.
Saul guarantees to sell your home in 59 days or less, or he will waive his fee and sell it for free. Guaranteed. Call 888-346-0666 or visit callsaul.net. Better call Saul.
This is Pete. I've had 3 missing teeth and have been thinking for a while about getting something done to get them replaced. I went to Dr. Neruzzi at Fox River Periodontics to see what they could do, and I'm glad that I did that. The staff there was fantastic. Dr. Neruzzi made sure I was comfortable during the entire process, always checking to make sure there was no pain. All my visits were very pleasant, and I'm glad I had it done. Another piece that made it fantastic was they worked with me on the payment. As all of us know, these are not inexpensive items to do, so they worked with me on the payment options as well as with my insurance carrier to help minimize my out-of-pocket cost. I feel so much better now that I've had my teeth and my dental implants put in. I feel more confident as I'm walking around. For those of you out there that are missing teeth and thinking about doing this, I would recommend you see Dr. Neruzzi and his staff. They're great, and I would highly recommend them going forward.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, let me tell you something.
Yes?
This is important. Stop the music. This is too important.
But that's ABBA. I mean, they're Swedish.
This is
Sorry.
nothing to be jovial about.
Yes.
You know what happens when we get distracted by issues that are unimportant, like ISIS, a nuclear Iran, abortion, the presidential campaign? We miss the big issues. We miss the big issues inhibiting Americans from achieving the American dream. And thankfully, we have a Secretary of Transportation. His name
who is it now?
Is Anthony Fox.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's a former mayor of Charlotte. He has his finger on the pulse of the true affliction bedeviling Americans.
This is representative of what's occurring nationally, which is not surprising because only 49% of low-income neighborhoods have sidewalks. In high-income areas, the number is closer to 90%. So if we want a society in which everyone has a shot and the American dream, then it's imperative that we acknowledge these challenges.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have a sidewalk and it rains and it's Mudville,
Yes.
people who are from Mount Prospect know exactly what I'm talking
I want you to think about that, though.
Yes,
I want
okay.
everybody to
All
think
right.
about that, the redistribution of sidewalks. If you don't have a sidewalk, can you achieve the American dream?
Well,
Obviously not.
You can't walk your dog easily down the street.
Sidewalks.
Where are you going to ride the bike?
The lack thereof. Food deserts, not the problem. The lack of sidewalks. I want everybody to devote a little bit of personal time today to think about what they can do to enfranchise more Americans with sidewalks.
Seriously?
Hey, the security officers at your business are an extension of your business. Because they are, you got to have the best. Often the first person your customer meets is your security officer, so they need to be professional, friendly, and courteous. Hey, if you're having issues with your security provider, don't tolerate it. Man, call Guardian Security Services. They're friends of mine. They're at the top of their game, setting the bar for customer service for the past 41 years in Chicago. Easy to reach if you have questions. They pride themselves on a client retention ratio greater than 95% and the best training and vetting practices in the industry. Hey, if you're unhappy with your on-site security officer or doorman, hey, call Guardian Security Services. Get a free consultation and tell them Joe Walsh sent you. Right now, call 708-385-3300. That's 708-385-3300 or online at guardiansecurityinc.com.
Congratulations to all who took the Balance of Nature New Year's Challenge. Success stories are pouring in. So many people have been helped through this incentive that I have asked Balance of Nature to continue this challenge for as long as possible.
I do feel slightly better. I can't explain it. It's like underlying. I can't explain it. I broke my leg twice, my left leg, and it used to bother me, but now it's not bothering me that much. I mean, you know, I also bowl on Friday nights. I mean, it used to kill me, but now I find that I could do that and without being in any discomfort.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
If you're at or nearing retirement, you know the low interest rate environment has changed the rules of retirement. Huge threats also loom that could drastically affect your wealth. You need to guard against the IRS, attorneys, and nursing homes becoming your biggest beneficiaries. The good news is there are strategies to help protect your investment gains in these uncertain economic times. Discover how to do this and much more by attending Retire with Confidence from the Alpha Wealth Group. Tom Fortino, Fox Business contributor and host of the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard Saturdays on AM 560, is hosting this free educational workshop, Retire with Confidence, on Saturday, April 9th in Oak Brook Terrace. To reserve your seat for Retire with Confidence, call the Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-519-4742. Space is limited. This could be the best 60 minutes you invest in your financial future. That's 630-519-4742. 630-519-4742. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
Fox News is next on AM 560, The Answer, WIND Chicago.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony.
What we need in the Democratic Party is some democracy.
Bernie Sanders on the CBS Late Show urging superdelegates to reconsider. 469 back Hillary Clinton so far, only 31 support him.
We've got to unite when this primary contest is over.
A new Fox Business poll gives Sanders a 5-point lead in Wisconsin over Clinton, and 4 days before that primary, the poll gives Republican Ted Cruz a 10-point lead over Donald Trump. Fox's Jared Halpern live in Washington.
The Republican frontrunner spent yesterday here in D.C. Donald Trump meeting with national security advisors and had a sit-down with Republican National Committee Chairman Reince Priebus.
It's really a unity meeting. You know, we're leading by a lot. We have far and away the most delegates, millions and millions of votes more than anybody else.
But the meeting comes as Trump and his Republican competitors have backed away from a pledge to support whoever wins the nomination and a growing possibility no candidate secures the 1,237 delegates before the July convention. Dave.
Jared, police in Virginia are still looking for answers.
This man was like, get down, threw me to the ground. He's like, crawl. So I crawl and we get outside and he's like, we're going to run.
This after someone opened fire at a bus station, killing a state trooper. River. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more live.
Virginia State Trooper Chad Durmeyer was shot multiple times and later died. 2 civilian women were also shot, but they're expected to be okay. Now, the gunman, whose identity has not been released, was killed. It happened mid-afternoon yesterday at the Greyhound station in Richmond, where Trooper Durmeyer had been participating in a training exercise with about a dozen other troopers. Dave.
Tanya, tornadoes have twisted apart more areas of the South from Louisiana to Alabama. Homes were damaged in Mississippi, but there were no injuries.
For most of Friday, it looks like the severe weather threat will be confined to North Florida, parts of Georgia, and northeastward into the Carolinas.
Steve Corfidi with the National Weather Service. In India, they don't expect to find anyone else alive in the rubble of a road overpass that collapsed. Rescuers used saws and cranes to save dozens of trapped people, but at least 23 others died. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Good morning. It's 41 degrees in Chicago at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. I'm David Stewart. Cloudy, breezy, cooler, showers possible today with a high of 50. Chicago teachers today are holding a one-day strike to protest the lack of a state budget and what they call the district's unfair cutting of their compensation. Governor Rauner calls the strike illegal.
Children in Illinois should come first. The taxpayers should be protected, and the law should be honored.
Union Chief Karen Lewis.
If there's anything illegal and immoral, it's what he's doing. He's holding the budget hostage until he gets what he wants. He's the petulant, recalcitrant child.
School Chief Forrest Claypool says striking teachers will not be disciplined, but they won't be paid, and legal action is possible. Hundreds of alternate sites are open in addition to a number of schools for students looking for what to do with their kids today. Harper College in Palatine plans to eliminate 62 full and part-time positions and lay off 19 full and part-time, 10 part-time employees at the end of June. They attribute the moves to the state budget impasse. Those positions include teachers as well as administrative, technical, professional, maintenance, and security jobs.
Who gotta go?
Activists upset after it was revealed the officer charged in the murder of Laquan McDonald is working. Protesters gathered outside the Chicago FOP office yesterday to demand the dismissal of Jason Van Dyke. The police union hired the officer to perform janitorial work. A Harvey man will be spending the rest of his days behind bars for killing a Metro police officer. Gemetric Nicholson sentenced to life in prison after he was convicted in the murder of Officer Thomas Cook in 2006 at the Harvey Metro Station. A Chicago doctor will evaluate the health of former House Speaker Dennis Hastert before his sentencing for financial crimes that cover up a hush money payments. A federal judge appointed geriatric specialist Dr. Robert Golden to evaluate claims that Hastert's health began a steep decline just days after he pleaded guilty to federal charges. In sports, the Bulls came back to beat the Rockets 103-100. The Hawks are in Winnipeg tonight. News and service of CiCi's Pizza. You ready for an adventure in flavor? CiCi's brings 3 new flatbread pizzas to the unlimited buffet. Try the new Spinach Alfredo, Chicken Bacon Club, and Honey Barbecue Chicken. More flavor to explore for the same great value, just $5 and change. Only at CiCi's. Better believe it. AM 560 News Time 6:04. Where are the cars? We'll have the answer in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Sean Hannity warns of a third-party challenge.
The Washington Post today is claiming that a group of, quote, conservative leaders got together this morning to plot a third-party challenge if Donald Trump gets the nomination. I would argue, and I'm saying this respectfully, this is a death wish. This is a plan to help elect Hillary. This is a circular firing squad.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
How'd you feel this morning? Man, I feel great every morning because I got an awesome night's sleep with MyPillow. I know you hear me rave about MyPillow all the time. If you still aren't sleeping on a MyPillow, why not? You'll feel more rested and have a better day. Man, if you experience headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies, MyPillow can make a difference. You have to try MyPillow to experience the benefits. It's a premium pillow with 4 different loft levels to fit you. It's washable, keeps its shape, and supports you where you need it most. That's why it's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. Act now and get 2 MyPillows for the price of 1. 1 for you and the other is a gift. It's the best offer, I gotta tell you. Visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Joe for the 2-for-1 offer. Do it now. 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code Joe. 800-489-0201.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-5125. That's 1-800-467-5125. 1-800-467-5125. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
At 6:07, let's check the roads from the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, David. On the inbound Eisenhower, traffic is stop and go Damon to Ashland after an earlier crash. It's 31 minutes Thorndale to downtown, outbound 5 at 29. The Edens and the Kennedy have no significant delays. Inbound Stevenson, about a 2-minute slowdown. Cicero to Kedzie. Ryan is heavy 95th to 83rd and 31st on into the Burns Circle. 21 minutes 95th to downtown. Fishing Forward just a little slow at the merge. Tollways look good. Traffic is a service of Staples. Staples has low prices every day, and with Staples' price match guarantee, you'll always get the lowest price on everything you need for your office. Price match good at checkout for items from online and in-store retailers or products sold and shipped by Amazon. See store or staples.com for details. Staples, make more happen. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now your forecast, a service of aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. And here's meteorologist Holly Holdren.
Today, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers, high of 52, then an evening rain or snow shower in spots, otherwise partly cloudy tonight with a low 30, then tomorrow winds gusting past 50 miles per hour, partly sunny with a high 45. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
39 at the lakefront, 41 at Midway and O'Hare. Next, News 630, continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show, a show about the truth of the foreclosure crisis. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I especially feel bad for the teachers because, they won't be getting any pay.
We have AP testing coming up in May, and the AP test doesn't change the date. So therefore, our AP classes, like our curriculum, has to keep on going.
Well, it could be that I misspoke, but this was a long, convoluted subject. We talked about Catholicism and his religion, and Chris went back and forth about that, and this was a very long, convoluted discussion.
I am so sick. I am so sick of the Sanders campaign lying about me. I'm sick of it.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, we've got that Wisconsin primary on Tuesday, and a couple of polls have Ted Cruz opening up a double-digit lead. One poll that was taken yesterday has Cruz with only a 1-point lead, so it's still very much in question. I think Cruz wins Wisconsin on Tuesday, but I don't think it's the end for Trump either, as some are predicting. I don't think it's as Waterloo, as Stalingrad, as Little Bighorn, etc. I don't think it's the end. I think what happens after Wisconsin is it becomes a pitched battle, because then you go on to New York a couple of weeks later, where Trump has a huge lead, and some of the northeastern states, and then obviously over the next couple of months circle all the way back to California on June 7th. So it's close in some of those states, and it's not close in others, at least at present.
So do you think we're going to have a contested or a brokered convention?
Well, if Donald Trump loses Wisconsin, if Cruz does win, then the path to 1237 gets very narrow for Trump. He will have to resuscitate his momentum and go on to start piling up victories like he was piling them up a month ago. Just think about kind of Super Tuesday forward if he wants to get home without a contested convention.
But those polls, I'm sure, were taken before, he refused to fire his campaign manager for harassing or assaulting a woman, and then the comments he made about abortion.
Well, there was the Fox Business poll that was reported yesterday. Interesting. Among Wisconsin women, Cruz has a 19-point lead, but Trump is in second. He's still ahead of Kasich among women.
And quickly, the Wisconsin women that we're speaking of, younger women are appalled by Donald Trump.
Is insulting towards women. He insults their appearance and their age.
But ironically, elderly women or people with their ARP cards, senior citizens, are supporting Donald Trump.
Make you worry about what he would be like as a president if he's
No, because he's a businessman, and I think he would surround himself with people who are in the know.
That's part of the value prop for him, is that he's actually done some things against the backdrop of politicians who haven't done much. And there's one on the other side who hasn't. Well, there's two on the other side who haven't done anything. We made fun of Bernie Sanders, appropriately so, for having as his signature achievement in the Senate.
Getting a job at 40?
But...
in the Senate, yes. What's his...
As his job in the Senate, U.S. Senator, signature job, renaming a post office. Well, Senator...
Is that true?
Yeah. Senator Dianne Feinstein sat down with the San Francisco Chronicle's editorial board on Tuesday, and she was asked this zinger.
All right. Was it about abortion, Dan?
No.
Abortion.
But she was... She had thought about this question about as much as Donald Trump has thought about abortion. She was asked by the editorial board, as someone who worked with Hillary Clinton for nearly a decade in the Senate, what, in your view, was her signature accomplishment as a senator?
Ooh. And the answer is?
Golly, I forgot what bills she's been a part of or authored. I didn't really come prepared to discuss this.
Wow.
But she's been a good senator. There are things outside of bills that you do, and I know that she's done them for the state, continuing with her generic defense.
Gosh.
I should have a list.
Great.
Then she told her an aide to get on Google and find out what Hillary Clinton has done as a senator. I'm not kidding.
Did you?
She said, get on Google.
Can you Google that over there for me, please?
I'm not sure what Google turned back, but here's the reality.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton as a United States Senator for nearly a decade.
She was? God, where was I?
She authored 3 laws. One designated a highway.
Okay.
A post office and a government building in New York.
Wow. That's it?
It's breathtaking, isn't it? This is why she's the most qualified, experienced, dizzying leader we've had since the last guy they described as the most qualified, dizzying, accomplished leader we could have.
So who's accomplished more, Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, right, boy.
312-642-5600.
Talk about a race to the bottom. By the way, just as a quick aside, because Salon.com.
Yes.
Salon.com is I'm starting to enjoy it more than The Onion.
Really?
And it's part because their parody is unintentional. Listen to this. Listen to Salon.com. You know, the reports out that Hillary is soon to be interviewed by the FBI along with senior aides. Listen to this from Salon. Talk about already trying to run interference for Hillary, pending worst outcome. Legal concerns aside, you can be sure that the Clintons' use of the private server will be continuous fodder for Republicans in a general election. The GOP will lie and exaggerate and smear, as they always do, particularly if an indictment is handed down. You know how the GOP makes a big deal when somebody gets indicted, right. You know, and how that's so unfair, lying about somebody who's under indictment. If that happens and Salon continues on that line of argumentation, it's really going to be a fun general election, no matter who the Republican nominee is.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Today it's going to be cloudy, windy. Otherwise, we're going to have rain and thunderstorms on and off throughout the day. A high of 65 degrees, 40 right now at O'Hare. Tonight, that rain could turn into some light snow, and Saturday morning showers, windy, a high of 45. And on Sunday, there's no rain. It'll be mostly sunny, but still windy and a high near 60 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thank you, Amy. Good Friday morning. Good morning, Dan. Eden's all clear. Kennedy as well. In Mount Eisenhower, though, we've got delays from 17th to Harlem and California to Ashland, where there was a crash. 33 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 5 at 29. Stevenson, 36 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Rhine is 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both have 5-minute delays approaching the Rhine. No tollway delays to report right now. I'll check that. Eastbound Adams Tollway, a little heavy, approaching 53. CTA Pink Line service is still suspended in Polk and the Loop, so you can transfer to the Blue Line at Racine. No traffic issues today with Chicago's Teachers Union protests outside schools, mainly in the morning, but the big impact is expected to be this afternoon in the Loop, with major rallies planned around the Thompson Center and other sites. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
It only took 7 days to create the universe and mankind as we know it. So why does it take months on end to design, create, and complete a home remodeling project? Begin your project with Genesis Construction. Their mission, building relationships based on honesty and integrity and doing what's right for you, which means you will always find the truth in Genesis Construction. From creation to completion, Genesis Construction is able to bring in your kitchen, bathroom, or basement project on time and on budget. They're also equipped and trained to handle your commercial maintenance needs for your facility, office, or church. Genesis Construction is insured and bonded. See for yourself why Genesis Construction has a 5-star rating from Thumbtack.com. Contact Bruce Filipiak at 888-973-9016. That's 888-973-9016. Or visit beginwithgenesis.com. That's beginwithgenesis.com.
Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. So you get yourself one of those blood tests with all the poking and prodding. They're always looking for some kind of bad news. Most blood tests these days are very lacking, only screening you for the big, bad, and ugly diseases, with you never really getting the good news, or even knowing what to do with the not-so-good news. So let me tell you about our dirt-cheap comprehensive blood test. First of all, we'll be testing a wide variety of different health factors and not just the ugly few. And then we're going to sit down with you and strategize with all the we learned from your blood test findings. And I promise that you're going to know more about what you can do to help improve your health using a more natural, common sense approach. And for over 33 years, we've been very successful at setting people free from their toxic medications. It's our dirt cheap, comprehensive blood test. Call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. That's 800-794-1855. Be sure to tune into Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
The stock market seems like it's in turmoil. 2016 has already proven to be a roller coaster ride. Is there another big correction on the horizon? Are you prepared? Or are you at the mercy of stockbrokers if it does happen? Let Online Trading Academy teach you how to navigate the stock market during these changing times. They offer professional trading and investing education for every skill level. They'll teach you a rules-based strategy, trading on knowledge, not speculations, so you can identify market changes before they happen. Online Trading Academy has a state-of-the-art educational facility, centrally located in Lombard. Call today, 888-601-TRADE. That's 888-601-8723 to attend a free half-day course. Call now and mention you heard this message on AM 560 The Answer, and they'll send you home with a free home video study course valued at $247 just for attending. This is a great opportunity to learn from the pros. Reservations are limited, so call now, 888-601-8723 or online at freeotaclass.com.
AM 560 The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, a lot of controversy over the revelation that Jason Van Dyke, the officer that shot and killed Laquan McDonald, has got a job working at the Fraternal Order of Police until his trial.
Yeah, and people are not happy, so they took to the streets, went in front of the FOP and protested not once but twice yesterday.
What do we want? Justice! And when do we want it? Now! Y'all trying to build the trust back of the people and then y'all hire a murderer. We will never trust the police. Yep. Period.
It wasn't a large crowd, but it was enough to make some noise. And of course, every media outlet covered it because people that were protesting think that it's racist of the FOP to hire Jason Van Dyke.
I don't know if it's racist, but it is an interesting choice from an optics perspective, from a public relations perspective. Let's get another perspective on this. It's Brian Warner. He's the president of Chicago Police Department Survivors Group. He was also an officer who served nearly 2 decades and was shot in the line of duty. Brian Warner, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. How are you this morning? First of all, Father Flager's been spearheading this.
Of course, yes. Of course.
As a Catholic, I'm embarrassed. As a police officer, a former police officer, I'm offended. As a United States citizen, I'm scared because Jason Van Dyke has not even had a day in court. He's not been convicted of a crime. But yet Father Pfleger, a man of God, is out there spreading this hate and convicting him in the public opinion. And it just scares me that nobody's reining him in and saying this is awful that he's doing it.
Well, that is what Father Pfleger does. He is a demagogue. He is a disgrace to the Catholic Church. He's a disgrace to the city of Chicago. He's a disgrace to the Archie comic strip because he has that same haircut. And so we're in vociferous agreement about that. And he should have been defrocked long ago, in my opinion. But
he's just really crossed the line this time. Instead, he's stepping on our Constitution, our rights to have a fair trial. He's just walked all over.
Well, but Brian, what about this? What about the idea that, well, of course, Jason Van Dyke will have his day in court and is entitled to a fair trial, of course, but he's not necessarily entitled to a job with the FOP, and the FOP. Well, let me just finish the question.
Sure.
And does the FOP hiring him while he awaits trial, does that send the wrong message to a public that is particularly polarized right now?
I can understand their opinion, but my opinion is he's a member of the union. He's represented by the union, and because people like Father Pfleger, they've created such an atmosphere where he's unemployable anywhere else. The man's trying to provide for his family. He has 2 children that he needs to provide for. His wife's business has run out of business because of all these haters. So where else is he to turn? But the union that represents him, the few people that will back him at this point.
And what exactly is he doing over there at the FOP headquarters, and how much is he getting paid?
He's being paid minimum $12 an hour, and he's doing odd jobs, painting and little repairs around the union hall. And that's engaging him. It's keeping his mind off of everything that's going on in his life and trying to give him a little structure.
Now, you've met with him.
Pfleger,
Yeah.
I have. I've met with Jason, sure.
And how is he doing mentally? How is he holding up?
How would you feel? I mean, you went through something similar to this where you had a public lynching, and before you had anybody who knew the facts, said he's going to have a day in court and the facts will be allowed. But let's not taint that so badly that he doesn't even get a fair trial.
So,
it's
Brian,
very difficult enough. Here, can I make one more point?
Yeah, sure.
Father Pfleger, here, we've just finished up the month of March. We had 47 murders in our city. We're 3 months into our new year. We've had over 150 homicides, murders in a lot of the communities that Father Pfleger represents, and we've had over 750 people shot. But Father Pfleger's priority is to make sure that Jason Van Dyke gets fired from a job and is unallowed to provide for his family. That's his priority. That's his focus.
Yeah,
that's a skewed and an awful perspective of what his priorities are.
There's no question. I mean, those that are the professional agitators, and Father Pfleger's among them. I'd love to see them. Well, I wouldn't love to see this, but just for their own eye-opening experience to see them be a police officer for a day. But let me ask you this, though, about what you were talking about, the crime in the city at present. So murders up 75% year over year to date. Police stops, investigative stops, down 90%. Is it fair to call that the Rahm effect?
You probably could. I mean, it's a national epidemic that's going on. In Chicago, they try and compare us to New York. They try and compare us to others. We are a unique animal here. We had people shooting each other at the drop of a hat. We had a shootout in front of a school yesterday, in front of a grade school, where 4 people were shot. Last week we had a shootout in front of a daycare center where 3 people were shot. We have people driving by in cars shooting at one another. And then people are like, oh, it's the police. Well, you cannot continually blame the police for all these ills. And this is my point that I've been trying to make all along. When the politicians, they finally toned down their rhetoric. They've stopped calling the police, the bad people here and this code of silence. They've hushed that. But now you put a new superintendent in charge, who I think is going to be a great bridge and conduit between the community and the police. And then Father Pfleger blames the union for hiring Jason Van Dyke for creating this wedge. I think he single-handedly created a wedge and set us back probably a year by going out there and making Jason Van Dyke the focus here, when it should be he's in a perfect position, Father Pfleger, to be the conduit between the community and the police. He should say, you know what, the man needs to provide for his family over there. He's going to have a day in court. He'll get his day of reckoning, and let's leave that alone.
Is Jason Van Dyke safe working at the FOP?
And that's the unfortunate thing, because they'll be out there protesting, and the daily work of the union will not be able to be done, and they will probably have to fire him. So now you've got a man that can't even get a job at McDonald's. Does Father Pfleger feel happy about that? Would he prefer that he goes on to the unemployment rolls?
Yeah.
And what precedent is he setting when he says anybody that's been accused of a crime and anybody that's awaiting trial or even been convicted of a crime should no longer be gainfully employed in our society, should no longer get a second chance to become a productive member of our society. So there's probably a good portion of his parishioners and a good portion of the people in the community he represents over there that fall into this boat. So you're saying none of those people should ever have a second chance?
Well,
None of
right.
those people should ever have another opportunity?
Right. I mean, this is the repository of a lot of advocacy for ex-offenders in terms of expungement of records and such, so they can be employed. That's a fair point. But let me ask you this, though, about FOP and Jason Van Dyke. Is the FOP hiring of Jason Van Dyke basically limited in message to what you just said? This is somebody who is awaiting trial. He's trying to provide for his family, and we're just helping him as a union member do that. This is not a comment on what we believe regarding his guilt or innocence.
That's exactly it. And Dean Angelo was very clear on that yesterday. They've hired other police officers in similar situations who've gone into no pay status, and because the publicity of the surrounding their particular shooting or event, that they're unemployable. And so it's the union's job, as the union represents them, to give them this fair opportunity to provide for their family. And for anybody to try to stomp on that is just it's ignorant and it's hateful. And when it's led by a Catholic priest, it's even embarrassing to me as a Catholic priest. And I would hope that at this point the Archbishop is going to step up and demand that.
Oh, you can hope. You can hope. That's not going to happen. Yeah.
That he discipline him, and more importantly, that we demand that he apologize to Jason Van Dyke and his family and to the Chicago Police Department for creating this wedge.
What is these? I want to go back to the actual shooting because so many people, their point of contention is that he unloaded 16 rounds into him. What is police protocol?
You know what I mean? I don't want to get into the facts of it. I truly don't. I mean, he's going to have a day in court, and all the facts will come out. I'll tell you right now, all the facts are not out there. People are basing their decision on that last 5-6 seconds of that tape. There's 12 to 18 minutes that lead up before the shooting takes place, and when all those facts come out, when the use of force model the Chicago Police Department is described, and when the state statute and the use of force, the use of deadly force state statute is explained, and people can make an educated decision, then I'll discuss that.
Let me ask you a question about the new police chief, Eddie Johnson. You talked about him hopefully being a bridge. Do you think that he will have the moxie to offer a statement like Jason Riley did, who's a former editorial board member of the Wall Street Journal, an African-American gentleman who grew up in a tough neighborhood, who said, all of this blame police, who said, I could walk around in my neighborhood, which was a tough neighborhood growing up, and it was very easy for me not to be shot and killed by a police officer. Much more difficult for me not to be shot and killed by a member of my own brotherhood, if you will, a member of my own race. Could Eddie Johnson be a bit of a spokesman on this, taking accountability for what's happening in the neighborhood and who the real predators are?
I would certainly hope so. I mean, I've gone on record saying that as well. I said, you have these reverends out there screaming, yelling about the police, and I've told them point blank, you have a better likelihood of being shot by one of your parishioners or one of your flock than you do a policeman. The facts just don't. The facts that people are out there spewing that the police are out there shooting unarmed black men is just a lie, and it's built on the Ferguson effect. It was all based on falsehoods.
All right.
The Justice Department came in and they debunked all that stuff, and that poor officer that Jason Van Dyke is turning into that officer. He can't leave the house. He's being scrutinized every second of the day by people that don't even know the facts.
All right. He's Brian Warner, the president of the Chicago Police Department Survivors Group, former Chicago police officer himself. Brian, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
When did Republicans lose their backbone, their guts, their conviction? Some will say they stood up to Obama. That's easy. But who stood up to their own party? That's Marlin Stutzman. Marlin said no to the establishment by voting against John Boehner. And he fought sweetheart deals on both sides by voting against the omnibus. Because politicians refuse to get it done, Marlin authored the only conservative budget that actually balances. And to keep the Washington crowd from getting cozy, Marlin is fighting for term limits to toss the career politicians out. It's not good enough to just vote for candidates who say they're conservative. We need leaders who have the guts to act like one. Marlin knows when Republicans bend, America breaks. Stand strong, Marlin. Conservative Marlin Stutzman for Senate.
I'm Marlin Stutzman, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Stutzman for Senate.
Grandview Capital buys homes. If you have a home to sell and it has problems, we will make you a no-obligation cash offer and close fast. If your home is badly outdated, we will buy it. Water damage, mold, or junk up to the rafters, we will buy your home as is. If you have a home that is vacant or soon to be, and you want to avoid the exhausting and stressful ordeal of maintaining it, paying taxes on it, or attempting to sell it, let Grandview buy your home today. We'll give you a fair offer with no obligation, pay you cash, and close on your timetable. Leave the stress and the mess to us. To sell your distressed or vacant home quickly with no commissions and without repairs, call Grandview at 1-800-USA-HOMES. We will buy your home today. Call 1-800-USA-HOMES or visit gvcproperty.com. That's gvcproperty.com. Call the name you can trust, Grandview Capital, accredited by the Better Business Bureau.
AM 560, The Answer.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Coming up on Chicago Morning's Answer, the ladies are back.
Buckle up. Diamond and Silk join us at 6:36 to explain Donald Trump explaining his view on abortion.
But first, let's go into the newsroom and say good Friday morning to Dave Stewart, who's in for Mike Scott.
Good Friday morning back at you. It's 41 degrees in Chicago at 6:32 on AM 560 The Answer. Cloudy, breezy, and cooler with showers possible and a high of 50. Pickets are expected around Chicago schools shortly as the one-day strike by teachers gets underway. The picket lines will morph into rallies around the city and a planned massive gathering later this afternoon in the Loop. For parents wondering what to do with their children, CPS Chief Forrest Claypool says there are options.
We have a simple message. If you are a CPS family and you need a safe place for your children, our schools, parks, libraries, and safe haven churches are ready.
Claypool says there will be legal action against the union, but individuals striking teachers will not be disciplined. 3 people were killed, 7 others, including a 16-year-old boy, wounded in a west, south, and north side shooting since yesterday. One man was shot and killed after he attempted to rob 2 people in Uptown. One of the victims handed over a cell phone and wallet, but when the robber demanded their car, the other 23-year-old victim pulled out a gun and shot him multiple times. A man from Aurora has been identified as the gunman who shot and killed a Virginia State trooper yesterday afternoon at a bus station in Richmond. Virginia State Police Superintendent Flaherty talks about the shooting of Chad Dermeyer and how it played out.
During the course of talking with the male subject pulled out a handgun and shot Chad multiple times. The male subject continued firing his weapon as 2 other state police troopers returned fire.
That gunman's been identified as John Brown of Aurora, who has a long record of various offenses and is said to have a long history of anger at police. The U.S. and France are joining forces to fight terrorism during yesterday's nuclear security summit in Washington. President Obama and French President Hollande met on the side to discuss how to secure North Africa against ISIS and the possibility of a new government in Libya. And a federal judge has issued an arrest warrant for indicted former Congressman Mel Reynolds for not coming back from Africa, South Africa that is, to face the court after pleading guilty in a tax case. Reynolds told the judge in an open letter that he is staying abroad to care for his ailing daughter. In sports, the Bulls came back to beat the Rockets last night, 103-100. The Hawks are in Winnipeg tonight. News and service of CiCi's Pizza. Are you ready for an adventure in flavor? CiCi's brings 3 new flatbread pizzas to the unlimited buffet. Try the new Spinach Alfredo, Chicken Bacon Club, and Honey Barbecue Chicken. More flavor to explore for the same great value. Just $5 and change only at CiCi's. Better believe it. AM 560 News Time 6:35. How bad's the traffic? We'll check in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Dennis Prager has figured out the Trump strategy.
What he does is he comes in like a bulldozer, and anything in its way is shattered, and then is calm and is given tremendous kudos for his calmness. So he has, even if you're a supporter, you have to acknowledge that this is a very effective thing for him.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560, The Answer.
LiveWatch helps you connect and respond up to 10 times faster in an emergency. LiveWatch has no long-term contracts. Save up to 50% off home security. Call 855-LiveWatch or visit livewatch.com.
In business, risks and rewards come with every decision, like moving to the cloud with Office 365. While its benefits include anywhere access and lower costs, cyber threats and user errors can quickly wipe out data and the money you save. Barracuda Essentials for Office 365 provide an added layer of security and functionality for threat protection, email migration, data recovery, and quality of service. Move securely to Office 365. Visit barracuda.com/essentials to learn more.
Not available in California. Here's a great idea for a business: health food and vending machines. Who doesn't want healthier choices? Imagine the money you could make. Well, the guys at Fresh Healthy Vending have already thought of it and have secured locations ready for healthy vending machines. Most of our franchisees work fewer than 15 hours a week and are amazed at the income they're making and how fast their business is growing. So go to readyforfresh.com right now. Type in promo code 2626 and receive an immediate 50% savings on franchise fees. That's right, we'll pay half of new franchisees' fees. Readyforfresh.com 2626.
At 6:37, let's check the roads from the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, David. Eden's inbound. Just a little heavy approaching the junction. Outbound, it's fine. Kennedy has delays. Cumberland to Central and Division to Ohio. 28 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 20. Eisenhower is 36 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound 29. Stevenson 40 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 5 to 34. Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 20 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Northbound Tri-State heavy from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Eastbound Adams Tollway slow, Roselle to 53. Traffic is a service of Business Outfitters by Land's End. There's an old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. It's true. Business Outfitters by Land's End makes it easier than ever to look your best, so you always make a great impression. Business Outfitters by Land's End. They supply confidence. Shop now at business.landsend.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte at AM 560. The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now your forecast. A service of aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Mostly cloudy, breezy, and cooler today with a couple of showers and a high of 50. Evening rain, maybe a snow shower with patchy clouds and a low of 31. Windy, partly sunny skies tomorrow, maybe a rain or snow shower and a high of 45. Right now, 41 at O'Hare. Next news, 7 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Now more of Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Property Tax Show, Saturdays at 6 p.m. Hosted by Brad Hayes, Chicagoland's property tax expert.
Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So Hillary is poised to lose Wisconsin to Bernie Sanders. She's already looking forward to New York and trying to continue to cast herself as the inevitable candidate. And she launched an ad in New York against Bernie Sanders?
Really? Oh.
Against Donald
Trump, yeah. She always is acting like she's in the general
She's
already.
This is Hillary's new ad that's up in New York about Donald Trump. Remember, a Chicago transplant to New York, but behaving like she's the one with the crown and the torch.
New York, 20 million people strong. No, we don't all look the same. We don't all sound the same either. But when we pull together, we do the biggest things in the world. So when some say we can solve America's problems by building walls, banning people based on their religion, and turning against each other, well, this is New York, and we know better. I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
That is nonsense.
No, that was nonsense. That was
yeah.
not included in her ad.
But if she loses Wisconsin, that's 4 in a row. I mean, it's got to start stinging.
Six of the last 7.
Oh, yeah,
It would be 6 of the last 7. And maybe that's why she's getting a little testy. A young woman, a
Bernie Sanders supporter?
Perhaps, approached Hillary about, being a tool of corporate interests, including the fossil fuel sector. And Hillary did not appreciate the inquiry.
I am so sick of the Sanders campaign lying about me. I'm sick of it.
So she got in this woman's face, will you stop taking contributions from fossil fuel companies? She got in this young woman's face pointing at her, pointing at her chest.
Mean Hillary?
Yeah, and said, I'm so sick of Sanders lying about me and lying about this campaign. So there's the Hillary constructed by the magic makers that create political ads, and then there's the Hillary in real life that you experience. You don't want the latter. Well, all right. It's time.
So excited.
Buckle up. Diamond and Silk. These are still my two favorite pundits of this election cycle, but their guy is wearing a little thin on me. They're going to have to prop him up. He could use all the help he could get after the week he has had. Diamond and Silk, hosts of The Viewer's View, thank you so much for joining us again. We appreciate it.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
All right, Diamond and Silk. So, Trump, his comments on abortion with Chris Matthews, please explain.
Okay, it was simple. He heard two things, the two key words, punishment and crime. If you commit a crime, should you be punished? And he spoke, I believe, from that perspective. But then he came out and clarified exactly what he meant. And what he means is this. If abortion is outlawed and a woman go in to have an abortion, that doctor will be held accountable. Not that woman and not the child that in her stomach, not the unborn child, is what he clarified. That's just like, for example, if a doctor shouldn't be practicing and we go into his office, they're not going to come arrest us. They're going to get that doctor. So he clarified it. But you know the media make a frenzy out of everything he do. They dissect every little thing he say. And Chris Masters, you know what? Why was he even on there doing something with Chris? Because Chris is his mad dog.
Because he
don't
loves
even like him.
because he loves the media and he loves media attention, and the media has been his best friend. Maybe that's why he was on with Matthews.
No, let me tell you why he was on. Because he had to go in the wolf's den too. He had to go in the lion's dens with all of the vicious people because he's going to be their president too. So I have to commend him for that.
But ladies, don't you think the damage is already done? I mean, you look at statistics nationwide. 70% of female voters have an unfavorable view of Donald Trump.
Oh, I beg to differ. I believe that is just left, both sides, just trying to listen. They don't want him to get this nomination. This is a Stop Trump effort, a movement that they're doing on the left and the right. Okay, so you even have the media in on this.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I mean, this is two hits in a row. First, you have Corey Lewandowski, who apparently, allegedly, has been charged with assaulting Michelle Fields. And then you have this. It does seem like there's a little bit of a war on women when it comes to Donald Trump.
Distractions is what we call it. Straight distractions. And what people shouldn't do is pay attention to distractions. Just like Hillary Clinton. Why aren't they paying all of that on the news? Should she now serve her some papers with communicating threats? I felt like threatened when she was talking to that girl. I felt it as she wasn't even talking to me. Communicate threat. Let's find a charge to put up on her. This is just a mere distractions, something to bring down Trump, take us off message, and I'm not paying attention to any of it. I know exactly what he means. I know he's going to be good for women, and I'm excited about that.
Now, Diamond and Silk, let's leave the charges to the Justice Department. We want federal charges against Hillary, so please don't file charges.
Right.
We don't want the FBI to be distracted.
We don't want to give her no low charge. Give her something to put her down. Yes, I love it.
There you go. So now, what about his campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, and his role in crowd control that had led to those misdemeanor battery charges Amy referred to, and a lot of women rallying to the defense of Michelle Fields? What was your take on that whole flap?
Like this here. I didn't really want to discuss it because of distraction, but I'm going to tell you this. We've been there. We've been in the mix of everything. If Secret Service is around, you don't get all up on Donald Trump trying to touch on him because somebody is going to intervene. When I looked at the video, it just looked like he casually moved her back and kept on moving. He didn't even look her in her face. This is just a way to distract us. And now they want to say battery charge. OMG, but you know what? They showed her at the end when the room was clearing out and they showed her arm. Didn't look like no bruise was on her arm then. So so you know what? I believe he's going to come out okay. I believe he's going to be exonerated for this.
Ladies, you've been on stage with Donald Trump a few times now. Have you met Corey Lewandowski?
Yes.
And?
Listen, this man is a very humble man. We've been around him. We've been up close and personal. He do not have a personality that is aggressive. He do not have an aggressive personality. I promise you that. So that's why these allegations and these charges are shocking. This is shocking. He's never, ever. Listen, and this man is Hopper. That's exactly
Well, I
what
just
they
think it's
are.
strange because Donald Trump fired one of his employees for setting up the rally in Chicago at UIC Pavilion, but yet he didn't fire Corey Lewandowski. Because, ladies, there are pictures with bruises.
Wait a minute. Well, let me tell you something. Donald Trump is his own man. If he say he not going to fire him, then he not going to fire him. And you know what? I have to appreciate someone that sticks up for someone. He could have easily threw him under the bus, but he didn't. I looked at the video. I don't see anything that he did wrong. It looked like he casually just moved someone out the way and kept it moving. I didn't see assault. I didn't see abuse. The girl said that she was pushed to the floor. I didn't see her falling to the floor. That's what I'm talking about. People always telling lies. They always lying to try to get attention, and that's what it seems like. And I also heard, and we could say allegedly, that she was also fired from her job on Fox on the weekend. Now, that's what I heard, but I don't know how true it is.
Well, you know, if Donald Trump would have thrown him under the bus, then Corey Lewandowski could have filed battery charges.
Yeah.
So, Diamond and Silk, let me ask you a question. If Ted Cruz wins Wisconsin, which is certainly possible on Tuesday, if he wins Wisconsin, it becomes a very narrow path for Trump to get the necessary delegates to win the nomination outright. And if there is a contested convention and a candidate is selected other than Donald Trump, what will you do?
Oh, my God, if my man don't win, I will right-hand in. I am not voting for Ted Cruz. And the media, you know the media makes me sick. Why aren't they talking about the Cruz sex scandal? Why aren't they talking about...
Come on now.
There is no sex scandal.
Come on now, lady.
Wait a minute. Y'all ain't heard of Lollipop and Candy Rapper? And we call her Candy Girl?
What? Who is Lollipop and Candy? No, tell me about it.
Y'all had heard allegedly back in 2004, it is alleged that he was messing around with a call girl. She was 18 years old, and they call her Candy Rapper. That's not true.
Candy Rapper?
Okay,
when did this turn into The View?
What about this here? Well, I can't say the name, her new name, because we want to protect these people from their real names. We're protecting the identity.
Yes.
Now, Ted Cruz said in the town hall that he loved cheese. One of the so-called mistress was talking about cheese back in, 2014? Late night. Somebody cut her a delicate piece of cheese. I put two and two together, baby.
Okay.
You can't fool Diamond and Silk.
No, you can't. All right. Diamond and Silk, you've given us a lot to think about. And we're going to take a cheese break, but we appreciate you joining us. As always, Diamond and Silk, hosts of The Viewer's View.
Thank you for having us.
And they joined us on our Lollipop Turnkey Top Pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
So, have you ever heard of Candy Rapper and Lollipop?
This is where we needed Barbara Billingsley to come in and say, "Stewardess, I speak jive."
Oh, my goodness. Oh, and a lot going on in the weather department. 41 degrees right now at O'Hare, going up to a high of 65. But the big news is showers and thunderstorms and big wind gusts this afternoon. Some could be damaging. Friday night into Saturday morning, that rain could turn into light snow. And on Saturday morning, showers, windy, a high of 45. Sunday looks terrific. No rain, plenty of sunshine, but still windy, a high of 59 degrees. Travel times on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Good morning. And Sunday should be nice for that Shamrock Shuffle, but that will mean lots of street closures and major traffic impact around Grand Park and in the downtown area. Today, the big traffic issue is expected to be during the afternoon hours in the Loop with the Chicago Teachers Union protests. Protests are also planned this morning outside schools. The Edens inbound is just a little heavy from Elston to the Junction. 21 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. Kennedy, 30 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 22. The Eisenhower, 37 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 29. Stevenson, 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. To Ryan is 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State heavy at 290, eastbound Adams Tollway, little sluggish, Roselle to 53. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines. I'm Lou Dobbs. The Labor Department releases its March jobs report today. Medicare changing knee replacement payments. Those stories next.
Tax problems? They only get worse if you don't do anything. Are you an individual or business that owes at least $10,000 in back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns? Don't risk garnishments or levies on your wages, bank accounts, or accounts receivable. Call Rapid Resolution Tax Group now. They're Better Business Bureau A+ rated and accredited. Tax attorneys, enrolled agents, tax professionals, and they guarantee same-day contact with the IRS. No tax problem is too big. They've helped many people just like you with their tax problems. Pick up the phone and call 800-601-2929 now. If you qualify, Rapid Resolution Tax Group can settle your tax debt for less, remove penalties and fees, stop garnishments and levies. You may even qualify for the IRS Fresh Start Initiative. You do have rights as an American. Don't let your tax problems get worse. Call Rapid Resolution Tax Group for a free consultation at 800-601-2929. That's 800-601-2929. Call now.
With new unemployment claims at historic lows, Wall Street looking to the Labor Department's report on jobs for the month of March for further signs of whether the jobs market is remaining stable. Beginning today, Medicare will change the way it pays for hip and knee replacements, a new program using financial rewards and penalties, rolling out in 67 metro areas, mandating coordination among hospitals, doctors, and rehab centers. Chief executives of more than 100 companies have sent a letter to North Carolina's governor calling for repeal of the state's law limiting bathroom options for transgendered people. American Airlines, Starbucks, eBay, and Hilton executives are among those demanding the repeal of the new law. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
The only significant, among all the vitamins I changed, nothing affected cholesterol. I took this and my cholesterol dropped by 15 or 20%.
Yeah, with the acid reflux, and I have GERD and gastritis, and it really seems to be helping a lot, and my husband too. I mean, we're very happy with the product, I got to say it. It's been great, and we've seen dramatic results, so I can't say anything bad about it. We've really been happy with the product. We've been amazed with it.
There is a value in it because it has fruits and veggies, and I'm not a fruit and veggies eater, and I know this is helpful.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, I want to take notice of this. An uplifting thing, a great story. This is a story of the power of a single life. That single life being Mother Angelica. She's the founder of the Eternal Word Television Network, EWTN.
Oh, okay.
Catholic Network. She founded in 1981 with $200.
Oh, my gosh.
A makeshift studio in a monastery's garage in Irondale, Alabama, and one on-air personality herself. And she was quite the personality. She passed away last weekend at the age of 92. And this is a story about those who would prefer to give up on a child's life who may be born into difficult circumstances rather than go to bat for that child. Born Rita Antoinette Rizzo to a suicidally depressed and soon-to-be single mother in Canton, Ohio, the young would-be nun grew up in a toxic family environment in a home that swarmed at times with literal rats. Her father, an unemployed tailor, would eventually leave her mother, never wanted children. The television network she founded in the garage of her Port Clares monastery grew into the largest Catholic network in the world, streaming 24-hour content to 144 countries and 230 million households. The just part of the story of Mother Angelica, an unbelievable story, the power of a single life that spread the word and had a profound, if not mainstream recognized impact on humanity in a positive way. Her funeral mass is today, so I just wanted to recognize Mother Angelica and her contributions to faith, the faithful, and civilization.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you wanted to do an FHA Streamline refinance to lower your interest rate and payment, you called me and I helped you. When you wanted to refinance your 11% loan, you called me and I helped you. When you wanted to use your retirement assets to do an asset depletion loan, you called me and I helped you. If you'd like to talk to me about a mortgage, please call me at 312-751-1333. 312-751-1333. Email me at david@pearldavid.com. That's david@PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186, pearlmortgage.com licensing.
Hey, let me introduce you to my really good friends at Guardian Security Services. Talk about passion. Man, these guys get it. They provide on-site security officers to a wide variety of businesses in Chicagoland. Gated communities, colleges, financial institutions, you name it. Guardian Security Officers are on-site forming lasting relationships. They're so passionate about exceptional service, their client retention ratio is over 95%, and they just celebrated 41 years in Chicago. They thoroughly screen every applicant, typically only accepting 5 out of 100 officers. They hire the best, so you have the best. Easy to reach and backed by a 24-hour service center and exceptional training. If you're unhappy with your on-site security or door staff or anticipate a need in the future, man, contact Guardian Security Services. Tell them Joe Walsh sent you. Call right now, 708-385-3300. That's 708-385-3300.
Thank you, WIND, for helping such a great organization called Feed the Children. Hi, folks. Dr. John Chavez, chiropractor in St. Charles. I spent part of my childhood on food stamps, so I couldn't be more proud to partner with WIND in this great cause. Now I have the greatest job in the world because I get to meet people who are in pain and help them avoid surgery and get off pain medicines. I also want to continue helping the needy, so my office is currently offering a discount to anyone donating on their first visit. Bring a food item and receive 25% off your initial exam and treatment. Your donation will go to a local food pantry where needs will be met, and I'll do my best to meet your need to live a pain-free life. For more information, you can find me at ChiroJohn.com. That's ChiroJohn, Jon.com. Or you can call me at 630-715-9192. That's 715-9192. Help me help you, while together we help our community.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll get the latest take on Wisconsin primary from Brett Baer, host of Fox News Special Report at 7:07.
And meet a man who's taking on the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Dave Stewart, who's in for Mike Scott.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Dan. Among the stories we are watching today, the teachers are off the job today in Chicago. Activists have been speaking out against the Chicago Police Union for the hiring of Jason Van Dyke. And a Facebook video captures an apparent shooting in Chicago. In sports, Bulls came back to beat the Rockets. The Hawks are in Winnipeg tonight. A cloudy, breezy cooler today with a high of 50. News coming up right after an update from Fox News on AM 560. The Answer, WIND Chicago at 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Donald Trump insists.
I get along with people. I get along with them very well.
After he had a meeting with the head of the Republican National Committee to discuss unity, as Trump falls behind in Wisconsin. A new Fox Business poll gives Ted Cruz a 10-point lead before Tuesday's primary. That same poll has Bernie Sanders up by 5 in Wisconsin. Fox's Jared Halpern has more on the Democrats live.
Bernie Sanders is looking to keep a string of wins going next week in Wisconsin. A Fox Business poll shows he is leading overall frontrunner Hillary Clinton, but both campaigns are looking ahead to what could be make or break New York. Polls show Clinton in front, but her lead has narrowed as attacks have sharpened.
I am so sick of the Sanders campaign lying about me.
Clinton telling a Greenpeace activist the Sanders campaign is lying about her taking donations from oil companies. A campaign spokesman says Clinton has never accepted funds from the oil and gas industry. Dave.
Now, Jared, a state trooper's wife and his 2 young children are in mourning in Virginia the day after Chad Durmeyer was gunned down at a bus station.
The male subject pulled out a handgun and shot Chad multiple times.
State Police Superintendent Stephen Flaherty. 2 other people were wounded before other troopers shot back and killed the gunman, whose motive is not known. We're told he had a criminal history. People who work for the minimum wage in California are in for a big raise. Maybe also in New York, where Fox's Tanya J. Powers is live.
Well, right now, the New York State Senate is debating part of the budget that deals with raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. California Governor Jerry Brown says he'll sign the $15 an hour wage bill on Monday. But not everyone there is on board. The California Chamber of Commerce president says the state's acting too fast, concerned it will hurt businesses. California's current minimum wage, $10 an hour. New York's is nearly $9 an hour. Dave.
Tanya, in Chicago, kids won't have class today. There's a one-day teacher walkout that is closing schools. The teachers have been working without a contract since June. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Good morning. It's 41 degrees in Chicago at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. I'm David Stewart. Cloudy, breezy, cooler today with showers possible and a high of 50. Well, today is the day thousands of Chicago teachers are walking off the job to protest the lack of a state budget. Chicago Public Schools planning to take legal action against the Chicago Teachers Union over today's strike. CPS CEO Forrest Claypool says the district is going to challenge what he calls an illegal walkout.
When adults play politics, students suffer.
CTU members who don't show up to work today will not be disciplined, but they will also not be paid for the day. Union Chief Karen Lewis says the action's about fairness.
The average person out here does not understand that we do not get Social Security. They don't care about our pensions. We had to build a coalition for this.
The district has opened hundreds of schools, park district buildings, and libraries to accommodate students today. Activists upset after it was revealed that the officer charged in the murder of Laquan McDonald is working. Protesters gathered outside the Chicago Fraternal Order of Police office yesterday to demand the dismissal of Jason Van Dyke. The police union hired the officer to perform janitorial work. An investigation is underway after video posted to Facebook appeared to capture a live shooting on the South Side.
I slid so they pop the stove back open for the kids.
The footage shows a man recording himself before he drops his phone as gunshots are fired. The victim was hospitalized in critical condition. A man once found guilty of murder in McHenry County will remain free. The Illinois Supreme Court denied a state's attorney's request to appeal the reversal of Mario Cachero's conviction. He spent 2 years in prison after being convicted of killing 17-year-old Brian Carrick in 2002 in Johnsburg. In sports, Bulls over the Rockets 103-100. The Hawks are in Winnipeg tonight. The news, a service of MicroGuard cat litter. Even after scooping your cat's litter box, bacterial odor keeps growing. Now you can prevent it. New Arm & Hammer Clump and Seal MicroGuard cat litter seals and destroys immediate odors, plus prevents future bacterial odors. Give Arm & Hammer 7 days and you'll get odor control guaranteed. AM 560 News Time 7:04. Where are the cars? We've got the answer in 2 minutes on AM 560. The Answer.
Sean Hannity warns of a third-party challenge.
The Washington Post today is claiming that a group of, quote, conservative leaders got together this morning to plot a third-party challenge if Donald Trump gets the nomination. I would argue, and I'm saying this respectfully, this is a death wish. This is a plan to help elect Hillary. This is a circular firing squad.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you or someone you know facing foreclosure, losing the family home? You'd be not alone.
See, people, we are in the aftermath of what is being revealed to have been the greatest financial crime spree in history, perpetrated by the Wall Street investment banks smuggling and packaging mortgages, and continuing this day by the mortgage servicers that service the mortgages. I'm Lou Bridges. I have a law firm I put together. We defend foreclosure actions. We help people do strategic defaults, short sales, and modifications that include restructuring. Call us for a free consultation. We'll tell you what to look for in hiring a foreclosure defense attorney. We'll tell you some of your options. We'll give you a free consultation. But whatever you do, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
Call 224-513-1231 or visit FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. That's 224-513-1231 or FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. Get real answers from a real foreclosure defense law firm.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-5125. That's 1-800-467-5125. 1-800-467-5125. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
At 7:07, let's check those roads from the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, David. Indiana Toll Road eastbound. The ramp to eastbound 94 is partially blocked.
Jobs, freedom, security. That's what's at stake.
Minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. The Kennedy. Now 35 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 20 from Montrose, 15 in the Express. Outbound 22 minutes downtown to the airport, the Eisenhower. 44 minutes Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 32. Stevenson 44 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound it's fine. Ryan 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, just a 2-minute delay from Cottage Grove to the merge. I-57 has cleared up. Eastbound 390 slow Roselle to Plum Grove with a crash in the left lane. Northbound Tri-State slow from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Eastbound Adams Tollway a bit tight, Roselle to 53. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next. But now your forecast, a service of aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
We'll have a couple of showers and heavy thunderstorms around into the early afternoon, mostly cloudy and windy otherwise. Thunderstorms can bring damaging winds, high today 65. Cloudy and cooler tonight, low 39. I'm Holly Holdren on AM 560, The Answer.
39 at the Lakefront, 41 Midway, 41 at O'Hare. Next, News 730. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by attorney John DeWatt. At your side to settle your taxes at thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I especially feel bad for the teachers because, I mean, they won't be getting any pay.
We have AP testing coming up in May, and the AP test doesn't change the date. So therefore, our AP classes, like our curriculum, has to keep on going.
Well, it could be that I misspoke, but this was a long, convoluted subject. We talked about Catholicism and his religion, and Chris went back and forth about that, and this was a very long, convoluted discussion.
I am so sick. I am so sick of the Sanders campaign lying about me. I'm sick.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning. What up, Dan and Amy? Well, you heard the Trump clip from O'Reilly Factor last night about the long, convoluted conversation he and Chris Matthews had about both abortion and Catholicism, and Donald Trump, after apparently being told by somebody what the actual pro-life position is on the prospect of prosecuting women under the hypothetical situation that abortion was prohibited as it was versus pre-Roe v. Wade, that is. I finally got the correct answer, so he's trying to put that to bed. Meanwhile, Ted Cruz is trying to close out Wisconsin, and Scott Walker, governor there, is up with an ad endorsing the guy that he endorsed.
Jobs, freedom, security. That's what's at stake, and that's why I'm supporting Ted Cruz for president. Ted is a constitutional conservative. He'll challenge the status quo, just like we've done in Wisconsin. And Ted has a real plan to grow jobs and restore opportunity. On Tuesday, please join me in supporting Ted Cruz, the only conservative who can beat Hillary Clinton and reignite America's promise.
I'm Ted Cruz, and I approve this message.
He sure did. And so, with the prospect of Ted Cruz winning Wisconsin, Fox Business Poll has him up 10. Certainly not over, but it seems that the momentum is with Cruz. And the combination of the Lewandowski matter plus his comments on abortion this week is the long-predicted demise of Donald Trump finally coming to fruition.
I can only hope.
Well, to answer that question or provide his insights on the matter, we're going to be joined, we are now joined by Bret Baier, who's the host of Fox News Special Report, Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. Central. And another programming note, tonight, no April Fool's joke, tonight at 9 p.m. Chicago time, there is a Fox News Special Report that is anchored by Bret Baier, Rising Threats, Shrinking Military. And Bret Baier looks at the hundreds of billions in cuts to the military, the social changes forced upon troops. The hour includes interviews with Obama's first 3 DOD secretaries, Gates, Panetta, and Hagel. So that is must-viewing TV. Bret Baier, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Good morning, guys.
So what about Trump's week and the prospect of a Cruz victory in Wisconsin? Is more being made of this? Tweets about... This is Trump's Stalingrad. This is Trump's Waterloo. Is a victory for Cruz there? Does it have more impact than just closing the gap between Cruz and Trump and increasing the prospect of a contested convention?
Yeah, it is more important than just one state. It happens to fall in a time when the numbers game comes to really a head, and if Cruz can win and win convincingly, it gets tougher for Trump to get to 1237, the majority of delegates needed for the convention. I don't know that this is the week that is the downfall of Trump. I think he had a bad week, definitively. And it started with Lewandowski and then his defense of Lewandowski, and that just, it didn't go over well. For his supporters, his loyal followers, this week is just a little bump in the road, a little blip. His problem is he needs to get to the people who are undecided or who were getting ready to say, you know what, fine, Trump, but they hadn't gotten there yet, and this week was not good timing for that. It's the rest of the contest that, New York obviously sets up well for him as a New Yorker. But other contests may not set up well for him, especially if he takes a decent-sized loss in Wisconsin.
But don't you think Donald Trump has ostracized himself from female voters this week? I mean, I can't think of a more catastrophic week on record for any politician, Republican or Democrat.
Yes, I definitively agree with you that this was a horrible week, especially when it comes to female voters. The CNN poll was out 73%. Find him, unfavorable among women. That was before the abortion comments, and clearly it's going the other way. It's not going a great direction for him. That said, Donald Trump is not your traditional politician, or as we've seen, there have been a number of times when he's said and done things that everybody said, this is it. John McCain, I like the ones who were not captured. Right. All kinds of stuff. The 100+ tweets about Meghan and being crazy. And it has not hit him. I don't know if this week the collective nature of all of these things may finally add up.
Speaking of tweets, Trump tweeted out yesterday, just said a very nice meeting with Reince Priebus and the GOP, looking forward to bringing the party together, and it will happen! Exclamation point. Anything other than a pro forma getting to know you meeting between Priebus and Trump?
Well, I think this was a warning that's saying, much like he said in the town hall, that he's not upholding the GOP pledge, and that he is, wants to send the signal about delegates and that they don't pull any funny business. I think the RNC, they put out a new website showing how the convention works and how trying to be as transparent as possible, saying this is not going to be a smoke-filled room in decisions, but they are going to probably, if he comes short, and it looks like increasingly he will, have multiple ballots. And, suddenly you could be in a scenario where somebody from the outside, as hard as it is to believe, becomes the person who can get to 1237. And that's what it is all about. It's not about hard feelings. It's not about who ran and spent money on a race. It's about who can get to the majority of delegates that are voting.
And is there any more scuttlebutt inside the Beltway about who could possibly be that proverbial white knight?
Well, it's not going to be Mitt Romney.
Right.
And it's not going to be Paul Ryan because I just don't think that, the establishment, and he obviously is a part of that, is going to be the one that rides to the rescue. It's going to be somebody who can tap into some of the anger that Trump and Cruz have tapped into. The most likely bet is it's one of them, or Kasich. But if it's not them, it's got to be somebody that's not in the inner circle.
Maybe a Brett Baer as a consensus candidate?
No.
Possibly?
No.
All right, so tonight, Rising Threats, Shrinking Military, your special that airs on Fox News Channel at 9 o'clock our time, Central Time. How has President Barack Obama destroyed our military?
Well, listen, they would say they haven't destroyed the military. They would say they were trying to make it better, and that aspect is in there. What we did, Amy, is we went out about 8 months ago with the premise, talking to experts and insiders in the military and former soldiers, saying they said that the military was deteriorating, and both in morale and also in readiness. And we took that and place in the world, and we sent out a wide net of possible interviews, and we started that process. Well, we ended up with 3 out of the 4 defense secretaries for President Obama. And we talked to Secretary Gates and Secretary Panetta and Secretary Hagel. And they were amazingly blunt, and their criticism is really pointed to the administration and to the president. We talked to, his folks and his worldview and what he's thinking about the military. And we put it all together in an hour that I think is pretty illuminating in a subject that hasn't gotten a lot of talk on the presidential campaign trail.
Sticking on President Obama for a moment, I know there's a lot of focus on the FBI investigating Hillary Clinton and apparently getting prepared to interview her. But this occurred yesterday. Judicial Watch, which has become like a shadow Department of Justice, announced that it was suing the federal government to obtain records of President Obama held by the FBI, following up on a FOIA from a few years ago, which seeks information from the Bureau obtained from 2,000 interviews with associates of former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, now in federal prison, and there till 2024. Those included meetings with Obama, his former chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel, and senior White House advisor Valerie Jarrett. Ooh, isn't that fun?
Yeah, Judicial Watch, I tell you, they have managed to pry more loose than any congressional committee. I mean, it's truly amazing. And frankly, on the FBI front, they've got, they are the ones that have now 2 judges siding with them, that the State Department hasn't been forthcoming and needs to provide more about Hillary Clinton. They are the ones that generated these judge orders to have these emails released. So kudos to them, and now they're working on this other aspect that obviously is of interest to you guys.
Yeah. Oh, sure. The Senate seat and all kinds of interesting conversations that could have taken place by the current mayor with the imprisoned former governor and Valerie Jarrett.
It's like a bad soap opera script, but only in Illinois.
I love it.
Hey, Brett Baer, what are your sources telling you about when Hillary Clinton is going to be interviewed by the FBI?
Days, and we're not positive that interview's definitively happening, but we're hearing from multiple sources that they're heading that way, and that even that FBI Director Comey may do the interview, which is pretty interesting. But they have had other aides go in, and this is a dangerous time for Hillary Clinton. I mean, she says this is just a security review. There's nothing to it. But what happens now is once you go in and you get deposed in this investigation, you open yourself up to a lot of things because she's been on all sides of talking about this. Once you're under oath, it's a different scenario.
All right, he is Bret Baier. The special tonight, Rising Threats, Shrinking Military. This is anchored by Bret Baier. And he looks at the billions in cuts, the social changes forced on troops, troop morale, as he just described, the foreign policy that breaks decades of tradition, and the hour-long program includes interviews with Obama DOD Secretaries Gates, Panetta, and Hagel, who, as Bret Baier just said, are remarkably candid. So it sounds like must-watch TV. Bret, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.Pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I don't know. I don't think I could say that, Teeth, but it sounds like a good story. It should be covered right here on AM 560, The Answer. But I'm covering your weather now. Partly cloudy skies right now. Depending on where you are, they could have a scattered thunderstorm throughout the day. Otherwise cloudy, windy, a high of 65. Tonight, a low of 32. The light rain turning into some snow, depending on where you live. And Saturday morning, we'll have showers greeting us. Windy conditions, a high of 45. But Sunday, no worries for your Shamrock Shuffle. It'll be mostly sunny, no rain, and it'll be a little windy, but warm, a high near 60 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. And every year, the Shamrock Shuffle has a big traffic impact in the downtown area, especially with the nice weather. A lot of people will be out, so you'll big-time street closures and probably a significant congestion around Grand Park in the downtown area. Today, of course, with the Teachers Union protest, you'll have issues in the morning around schools, and then the big traffic impact is expected to be in the Loop this afternoon. Indiana Toll Road eastbound, the exit to eastbound 94 is partially blocked with a crash off the roadway. The Edens is clear now. Inbound Kennedy, though, slow Nagel to the Burn Circle. 35 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 22. The Eisenhower, 44 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 36. Stevenson, 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound fine. Ryan is 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tollways are pretty light. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I'm bringing it with me tomorrow when we leave for Los Cabos, Mexico. I'm bringing my pillow with me. Why? Because I really cannot get a good night's sleep without it. It helps if you have chronic neck and back pains, insomnia, allergies, and it can make a difference. You have to try a MyPillow to really experience the benefits. It's a premium pillow with 4 different loft levels to fit you. It's washable, and it keeps its shape and supports you where you need it most. That's why it's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. American-made, a 60-day full money-back guarantee if you are not satisfied. So act now and get 2 MyPillows for the price of one for you, and you could give the other as a gift. It's the best offer. Visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy for the 2-for-1 offer. Do it now, 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com, promo code Amy.
If you're at or nearing retirement, you know the low interest rate environment has changed the rules of retirement. Huge threats also loom that could drastically affect your wealth. You need to guard against the IRS, attorneys, and nursing homes becoming your biggest beneficiaries. The good news is there are strategies to help protect your investment gains in these uncertain economic times. Discover how to do this and much more by attending Retire with Confidence from the Alpha Wealth Group. Tom Fortino, Fox Business contributor and host of the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard Saturdays on AM 560, is hosting this free educational workshop, Retire with Confidence, on Saturday, April 9th in Oak Brook Terrace. To reserve your seat for Retire with Confidence, call the Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-519-4742. Space is limited. This could be the best 60 minutes you invest in your financial future. That's 630-519-4742. 630-519-4742. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
Welcome to the Jesus Calling Daily Radio Devotional. Today's excerpt reminds us to trust God and live life one day at a time.
Trust me one day at a time. This keeps you close to me, responsive to my will. Trust is not a natural response, especially for those who have been deeply wounded. Exert your will to trust me in all circumstances. Don't let your need to understand distract you from my presence. I will equip you to get through this day victoriously as you live in deep dependence on me. Tomorrow is busy worrying about itself. Don't get tangled up in its worry webs. Trust me one day at a time.
There are so many stories of people whose lives have been changed by the words of Jesus Calling. Now you can read and hear these moving stories with the Jesus Calling podcast and blog featured at JesusCalling.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
So what are Peyton and Eli
What do you
doing
mean?
today?
Well, we got a nice little Friday plan, Dan. My mom's in town because she'll be watching the kiddies while we're gone. And my sister's in town from St. Louis, your fellow Catholic friend. She converted. She's a true Catholic, as you would like to.
Good for her.
Yes, she's a wonderful woman. So
Welcome
we're all
to the party.
We're going to do some fun things around the city. I don't know. But we're not going to be protesting. We're not going to be marching with the teachers. That doesn't mean we don't support and we do love our teachers, but we're going to stay out of it.
I'm looking forward. I'm going to walk over to the rally, the Workers of the World Unite thing they're doing at the Thompson Center at 4 o'clock. Is
Yeah,
that the
4
time?
o'clock.
No,
Yep.
I want to see them. I want to get in there.
Yeah, get
Maybe.
in there. I heard the Black Lives Matter protesters are going to join them.
Perfect.
AFSCME. I always mess that
AFSCME,
up.
yeah.
AFSCME, your favorite union, and some SEIU members.
Great. I think that in the interest of equal time and because it's a big tent over there, maybe they give me a turn with the blowhorn. The bullhorn, excuse me, the bullhorn. And I get to say a few words. What do you think?
Oh, my.
Could you imagine?
I think you'd be drowned out quickly. You'd be Forrest Gump. They'd pull the plug somehow or make the batteries die in the bullhorn.
Can have this bullhorn when you pry it from my cold, dead hands.
But parents have mixed reactions. Some are supporting this strike. Some think it's just a waste of our children's time.
I especially feel bad for the teachers because they won't be getting any pay. We have AP testing coming up in May, and the AP test doesn't change the date, so therefore our AP classes, like our curriculum, has to keep on going.
The average person out here does not understand that we do not get Social Security. They don't care about our pensions. We had to build a coalition for this.
No, it's Karen Lewis, right? 312-642-5600, turnkey debt prevention line. Nobody cares about financing their guaranteed 7-figure pensions. I do. And unfortunately, she's right about the other part, about not enough people knowing about it and acting in furtherance of fairness, which is a favorite phrase, favorite word of the left. There's a good piece in Crain's yesterday. Mad about the teacher strike? Let's strike back. This from Timothy Benson, who's a policy analyst over at the Heartland Institute, a free market think tank based in Chicago. He has an idea, a strike voucher. The idea of a strike voucher to allow any student from a CPS school to leave temporarily for any school not run by the district. Any charter, secular, private, or parochial school in the district with the room to take in additional students would be given a stipend of $50 per day for each student it welcomes through its doors. Funding for the daily stipend would come out of the Strike Makeup Day Pay Fund, which is compensation union teachers get for any strike days made up later in the year. I like that. It'd be an interesting test case, wouldn't it, to see how many parents and students would avail themselves even of these temporary strike scholarships, if you will, to go to another school and continue their education, which, oh, by the way, remember, that's what K through 12 education is about, educating children, not just administering salary and benefits for the adults. And we seem to have forgotten that. So, Peyton and Eli, this is a great teachable moment for them.
Yeah, and actually I sat down with the numbers that you provided for me yesterday about the pension, and in 1997 it was fine, and then it declined, and it kept digging a deeper and deeper hole, and told them also that Governor Rauner has nothing to do with this. He inherited this mess. This is not him trying to, you know what, to the teachers. No, this is just him laying his foot down, saying, I'm not going to give them funding, something they've got to give. And we need to compromise here, folks.
And we spoke to Mike DeRoss, who is a teacher at Lane Tech yesterday, who is not participating in the strike, and he had some choice words for his union as well.
Well, I actually felt that when I decided I wasn't going to go, the only honorable thing to do would be to contact the union and resign. which I did through email, and told them that I wanted to resign from their bleeping socialist union.
There you go. Well said, Mike DeRoss.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I feel great. I've always felt pretty good, but once I started taking them in September, I couldn't have felt any better. Everybody in my household's been sick through the holidays. We've had bad snowstorms here, and I feel great.
This is a wonderful thing. I'm really getting a lot of benefits from it. I'm 70 years old. I'm going to be 71 in April, and I just feel generally much better. I would also say there have been all kinds of colds and flu around me, and I haven't caught any of them. I have arthritis, and that has not been as much as it used to be by a long shot. So it's touched me in many areas.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
The stock market may seem like a roller coaster ride. Well, it's up 7% in March. Dow, how about that? But your finances don't have to be. You may be wondering, is there another big correction on the horizon? If so, are you prepared, or are you at the mercy of stockbrokers if it happens? Let Online Trading Academy teach you how to navigate the stock market during these changing times. They offer professional trading and investing education for every skill level. They'll teach you a rules-based strategy, trading on knowledge, not speculations, so you can identify market changes before they happen. Reserve your seat today, for a free half-day training course at their state-of-the-art education facility in Lombard. Call 877-OTA-CHIC now. Mention this ad, and Online Trading Academy will send you a free home video study course valued at $247 just for calling. Call now at 877-OTA-CHIC.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Can this man spring a Cantor-sized upset on Paul Ryan? This man is Paul Nealon. He's a wealthy businessman challenging Paul Ryan in a Republican primary, and we'll talk to him at 7:37.
But first, into the newsroom we go, and let's say hello to Dave Stewart, who's sitting in once again for Mike Scott.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. It's 41 degrees in Chicago. It's 7:32 on AM 560, The Answer. Cloudy, breezy, cooler today. Showers possible and a high of 50. Many schools will be open today, but the teachers won't be there. It's a one-day strike called by the teachers union to complain about the state budget, lack of school funding. Union Chief Karen Lewis.
The issue around the entire day is it's about revenue, and it's going to have to be about revenue, which is why we have more people joining us.
The rallies are planned later today, but in the meantime, students are being accommodated at some schools, some park buildings, and some libraries. Chicago coming off another violent day of shootings. Police say 7 people shot in 2 separate incidents yesterday within minutes of each other. A man and woman were killed, a 16-year-old boy wounded in gunfire near Kildare and Wilcox Street, and then just moments later, 4 people injured in a shooting at the intersection of 68th and Troop Streets. An investigation's underway after a boy died at a home for troubled youth in north suburban Lake Villa. Authorities say that child found unresponsive Wednesday night at the Allendale Association. Virginia State Police say a trooper shot at a Richmond bus station passed away shortly thereafter. State Police Colonel Stephen Flaherty said yesterday Trooper Chad Dermeyer started to talk with the suspect first.
During the course of talking with the male subject pulled out a handgun and shot Chad multiple times. 2
troopers returned fire, injuring the suspect, but he later died at the hospital. He's identified as John Brown of Aurora, Illinois. He's got a long record and reportedly a long hatred of police. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump says he wants to keep the party together. Trump says he had a, quote, very nice meeting with Republican National Committee Chairman Reince Priebus about party unity. In sports, the Bulls came back to beat the Rockets last night, 103-100. The Sox are in Winnipeg tonight. In baseball yesterday in Las Vegas, it was the Cubs over the Mets, 5-1. News and service of Staples. Staples has low prices every day. And with Staples Price Match Guarantee, you'll always get the lowest price on everything you need for your office. Price Match good at checking for items on online and in-store retailers or products sold and shipped by Amazon. See store or staples.com for the details. Staples, make more happen. AM 560 News Time, 7:34. We've got the traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Dennis Prager doesn't get Trump supporters.
It is clear to me from emails that many Trump supporters feel this way, and what they're in effect saying, they regard the Republican Party as either as big a problem for the country as the Democratic Party or as an even bigger problem. I 100% disagree.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Here Maps. Hit the open road with free offline turn-by-turn guidance that works anywhere. Get it for your phone at here.com/offline.
Great talent is the driving force behind your successful business. If you don't have the right people in key roles, then you have talent gaps. IMC Solutions identifies those gaps and delivers expertise in recruiting the right talent to fill them, leaving you free to succeed.
Hi, I'm Linda Nichols, founder of IMC Solutions. We're a niche recruiting and staffing firm that specializes in placing human resources and sales professionals. We've created programs that are just right for your small to medium-sized business because we know that you're looking for expertise, but are also looking at the bottom line expenses to your company. You can take advantage of recruiting services that big companies get, but you don't have to pay the big fees. Our programs and solutions are affordable and bring you the people you need.
IMC Solutions understands the unique challenges of your business, making the tough job of hiring easy. Get started on finding your next hire today at imcsolutions.com or call Linda Nichols at 630-637-6200.
At 7:36, let's check the roads from the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, David. It's getting heavier on the inbound Eisenhower now with significant delays between 9th Avenue and Damon. It's 50 minutes from Thorndale to the post office, 37 from Manheim, outbound 32 to Thorndale. The Edens at the moment is delay-free. And on Kennedy, slow Keeler to the Burns Circle, 30 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 25. Stevenson, 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 5 to 34. Ryan is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Adams Tollway eastbound, heavy approaching 53. Westbound, it's really jammed from the Tri-State to Toohey. There's a stall in the left lane. Traffic is a service of MicroGuard Cat Litter. Even after scooping your cat's litter box, bacterial odor keeps growing. Now you can prevent it. New Arm & Hammer Clump and Seal MicroGuard Cat Litter seals and destroys immediate odors, plus prevents future bacterial odors. Give Arm & Hammer 7 days, you'll get odor control guaranteed. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now your forecast. A service of aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Mostly cloudy, breezy, cooler today. Couple of showers and a high of 50 tonight. Evening rain or snow, otherwise cloudy, colder, and a low of 31. Windy, partly sunny skies tomorrow. Maybe a rain or snow shower in spots and a high of 45. Right now it's 41 at O'Hare. Next news, 8 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. More of Chicago's Morning Answer now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, good morning. So the March job numbers are out. Unemployment rate ticks up a tenth of a point to 5%. 215,000 non-farm payrolls increase, 250,000 job increase. Average earnings up 0.3 of a point. Labor participation rate also ticked up a percentage point. I think it was at 62, now 63, which is why the unemployment rate ticked up a bit despite the 215,000 jobs being created. We'll have Brian Battle on from Performance Trust Capital Partners at 7:47 to discuss. But now we've got something interesting happening just north of the Cheese Curtain, and that is this. A wealthy businessman who wants to spring a Dave Bratt, Eric Cantor-sized upset of one House Speaker Paul Ryan. His name is Paul Nealon, and he's running for Congress in a Republican primary against Paul Ryan. And he joins us now. Paul, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on, Dan. And you can call me Nealon, by the way, just so we're clear on who's who here.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, give us a little bit of your background and the reason you decided to take up this candidacy, this challenge to Paul Ryan.
Great. I'm a manufacturing guy. I've been in business since right out of high school. Started on a factory floor, worked my way up to running the business, and I've run businesses around the country. I was in charge of Europe, the Middle East, and Africa for a Fortune 500. I've got experience running businesses in Mexico, in Asia, and all over the United States.
The reason, sorry, go on.
Sorry. I was just going to answer the reason I'm running is I was arguably Paul Ryan's biggest supporter in this district. I pounded signs, made phone calls. I got people out to vote for what Paul Ryan said was his biggest priority, and that was getting people in Wisconsin working again. And that just wasn't the case. He's made promises to me and people here. He shook my hand, looked me in the eye, and made promises on policies he would and would not support on behalf of this district. And we've watched as he's broken every single one of them.
Well, give me some examples.
Well, I would say, first and foremost, the support of Fast Track Trade Promotion Authority and this Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's an absolute abomination for this country, for this country's workers, and specifically for the 1st District of Wisconsin. We've got a long history of design, engineering, manufacturing in this district, and the TPP, as it's commonly known, is going to be terrible for this country. Paul Ryan has been its biggest supporter, biggest fan.
And you think that the idea of trying to expand trade into other markets is bad for manufacturing?
No. I'm saying the way this trade deal is constructed is bad. I think we should be trading with partners all around the globe. I think when you've got somebody like India who has a 100% tariff on American motorcycles, Harley-Davidson can't ship motorcycles into India without a 100% tariff, but there's a 2.4% tariff coming back. That's a huge problem. And this TPP lowers the bar on made in the U.S. Content. NAFTA, if you recall, was 65%. TPP takes it down to 45%. Only 45% of the product has to be made in the United States for it to be marked made in the United States.
What are other points of departure between you and Paul Ryan, perhaps the most recent budget deal?
Absolutely. I can't believe that Paul Ryan would fund the unabated immigration policies that Obama's put in place. He has absolutely blown out all of the spending caps that we had, that we hard negotiated spending caps. Paul Ryan, he said, and I've heard it said, even by people who consider themselves as conservatives or fiscal watchdogs, as they refer to themselves, they say, well, we got these good things in it. No, we gave away the farm in this omnibus. And we haven't had a budget, I might add. We haven't had a budget in this country since 2007. Obama will be the first president to come into office without a budget, be in office the entire time, and leave without a budget. And Paul Ryan was considered this budget guru. That's a misnomer. Deciding that you've got a pile of money in front of you and you're going to figure out how to spend it does not a budget guru make.
Well, he's going along to get along this time around, but next time the budget comes up, he says that he's going to fight. Do you believe him?
No, I don't. I've heard that before. Paul Ryan has never died on any hill. Paul Ryan hasn't gotten back teen on his knee on any hill.
And so, just going back into the Paul Ryan record, if you had been representing the 1st District rather than Paul Ryan, would you have voted for the auto bailout as he did?
No, I would not have. Look at how this worked out. I would have worked to run that differently. Paul Ryan has never met a bailout he didn't like. He bailed out the banks, he bailed out the insurance companies, he bailed out everybody. And it was with him that the Janesville facility got shut down. That didn't have to go down the way that it went down. Paul Ryan was fine for it to go down the way that it went down. He agreed with Obama on how that all worked out. You look at all the car dealerships that were closed, how that was done. You remember Cash for Clunkers. I mean, Paul Ryan went along with all of this stuff, all the shovel-ready jobs. I got a shovel-ready job for you. Build a wall. Paul Ryan's got a big fence around his house. That has been authorized since 2006. Paul Ryan has been in Congress since 98. He's been there for 20 years. That's too long. That's too long for any member of Congress.
Do you, so I presume you're a term limit supporter then, based on what you just said.
I am.
Do you give Paul Ryan any credit for being a leading voice on entitlement reform and outreach to non-traditional Republican constituents that we would like to have, that we would like to be Republican constituents like the African American community?
Well, I don't think there's. I mean, you can go to my website, electnealon.com, and there you'll find policy on that. But I would say it's disingenuous, Paul Ryan, to fund other countries' initiatives, other things, and gut Social Security. Paul Ryan goes after Social Security. We've got in excess of $150 trillion of natural resources under the ground, gas and oil. And Paul Ryan would continue on a path of buying oil from other countries. We buy oil from Saudi Arabia. I guess let's throw some rough numbers out there. $40 a barrel. Saudi Arabia sells to China at $85 a barrel. You know why? Because they can, and it hurts American manufacturers, American oil companies. They only make 10% on profit on that.
We're talking to Paul. So we're talking to Paul Nealon. He's running for Congress against Paul Ryan up in Kenosha, Wisconsin's 1st District. Republican primary challenger, comes from a business background. And Paul, it's one thing to kind of present a contrast opportunity. It's another thing to run a successful campaign, right? So how do you put together the resources and the support that is required to make a real challenge against Paul Ryan?
Oh, well, that's a great question, and obviously I'm passionate about this. I've been betrayed by Paul Ryan, and I have a long business history of hiring excellent people. I've hired excellent people around the country for business. I hired excellent people from around the country to run my campaign and to work with me on doing this. I'm just one guy. I'm a catalyst for this to happen. There's people around this country that are begging for somebody to stand up to what's going on in Washington.
And are you going to be a self-funder? Are you making a big personal commitment to your campaign?
I'm making a big commitment, yes, to my campaign. You know, this whole
can you put a number on it or a range?
I would say it's 6 figures.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought, Paul.
No, I would just say that, you know, it all comes down to 3 priorities for me. And you can read all of this on electnealon.com. Reclaim Wisconsin's 1st District for we the people, stop Paul Ryan's cronyism and corruption, and secure our borders and enforce existing immigration laws.
All right. He is Paul Nealon. Elect Nealon, Nehlen is the spelling of his last name, .com. Electnealon.com is his website. Paul, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck with the campaign.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, job numbers are out for March. We have the best in the business. Brian Battle from Performance Trust Capital Partners will be joining us. But first, here's your forecast. Spotty showers on and off throughout the day. Some thunderstorms by this afternoon. It will be cloudy otherwise and windy, a high of 65 degrees. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have showers and it'll be windy, a high of 45. And on Sunday, no rain for your Shamrock Shuffle, but mostly sunny skies, windy and warmer, a high near 60. Travel times, let's get the latest from our good friend Jim Telemonte.
Thank you, Amy. And Dan, good morning. CTA, green and orange bound trains are standing at Roosevelt right now due to a sick customer on a train. Pink line service still suspended between Polk and the Loop. You can transfer to the blue line at Racine. Indiana Toll Road eastbound, the ramp to eastbound 94 is partially blocked due to an earlier crash off the roadway. The Edens, it's delay-free. The Kennedy inbound, slow Keeler to the Burn Circle. 30 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 25. About Eisenhower, 50 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. 37 from Manheim. Outbound 32 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 5 to 34. The Ryan is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive now has a southbound delay from Belmont to Fullerton. Northbound, it's okay. Eastbound 390 is the Roselle to Plum Grove with a crash on the left shoulder. The Adams Tollway has a heavy westbound delay from the Tri-State to Toohey with a stall in the left lane. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. AM 560 On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
So, biggest rally in the market since 1933 in the first quarter. And I've certainly enjoyed the rally. But how long can it last? We've got March jobs numbers, 215,000 jobs created, but the unemployment rate ticks up from 4.9 to 5.0 because the labor participation rate ticked up. But to imbue these numbers with more meaning, we're now joined by our friend Brian Battle from Performance Trust Capital Partners. Brian, thanks for joining us.
Of course, Dan, it's my pleasure.
So what about the jobs number and, frankly, the market performance in the first quarter and particularly in March?
Right, so the job number came in as you described, and it's kind of an underwhelming number. We had 215,000 jobs added. Unemployment rate changed slightly, so no real surprise in the numbers. And as you said, you know, some of the relief that we're seeing in the economy has been reflected in the stock market. As you said, biggest comeback since 1933. We're up 7% in the S&P 500 for March. That is all great news, but it's only great news because it was so horrible in January. Remember, in January, we were down about 11% on the S&P. So we're back to just about exactly unchanged on the S&P 500.
What about the construction payroll growth?
Construction payroll, we had some good numbers in construction payroll. The only thing, though, is construction companies are up about 37,000, the most in 3 months, but that can be weather-related, so really all those jobs that might have, all the construction activity that happened in March might have happened in April and May, so that's called pulling that demand forward. So you just have to watch the trend on construction because it's very iffy. It can go up and down a lot depending, as you said, Amy, on the weather.
I mean, it's just such an odd time, right? You've got what economists used to call full employment at 5%, and yet the way that people in the know talk about the economy is like we're limping along because of, I suppose, a low participation rate and because a wide swath of Americans have seen their wages stagnate.
That's right, Dan. So there's the weird thing about the unemployment number is it's how many people are looking for jobs, how many people are in the workforce, and how many people actually have jobs. So the labor force participation rate is how many people are actually looking for work. So, you know, a number like this, it's a really low participation rate. That's because we have this giant demographic bubble going through the U.S., which is all the baby boomers are starting to retire. You know, there's 10,000 people a day turning 62. So it's funny, and I think we've talked about this before, as the economy gets better, the unemployment rate can go up because as the economy gets better, more people signal that they're looking for work. That makes the labor pool bigger. That means the unemployment rate perversely could go up if the economy gets better.
Well, and to your point about the graying of America, this is worth noting. It was reported yesterday, for the first time in human history, people age 65 and older will outnumber children under the age of 5, something called crossing, the term that demographers use. And boy, what that portends in big welfare states like Western Europe and the United States.
Yeah, so another term for that, Dan, is over the cliff, because
right.
Because what you have is political disincentive to change support for the elderly. So if you're, and I'm not saying we got to cut welfare or Medicare or Social Security. I'm not saying any of that, but the political momentum to change Social Security benefits probably was the chance you had was probably in the 70s. Now you have to appeal to that demographic to get elected, because if you go out there and say we need Social Security should be lower, there's nowhere you're going to get any votes. So that is the political implications of public policy that can't be changed, as you said, because of the demographic.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but to the best of your knowledge, how many senior citizens are still working, or people who have gone past the retirement age that are still in the workforce?
So that's hard to tell me. I don't know that number exactly, but that's one of the reasons that the unemployment rate is such a funny number, is because there are a lot of seniors that are still trying to stay in the labor force, that are still working part-time because they haven't saved enough and because low interest rates don't give them enough current income to retire on, to stay home on. That has made the labor numbers very peculiar. And, I'm sure the PhDs at the Federal Reserve understand all this, but they're touting, we need low unemployment. Now that we have low unemployment, they're saying, well, you know what, the statistics are kind of funny right now. Let's look at the inflation rate and global growth. So these numbers don't mean what they used to because of the things we're talking about, which is the giant demographic shift in the U.S.
Well, and so to that point, Yellen and the mystics at the Fed, are they going to raise interest rates based on the market performance and the unemployment rate?
Well, the Federal Reserve has an idea that, so we're going to keep interest rate low. That'll make businesses borrow. That means payrolls will go up. That means unemployment goes down. That means wages go up. So they have this derivative calculation that low rates will cause economic growth, and it hasn't worked. So the probability of the Federal Reserve raising rates is low right now because the Fed has said, hey, we're not, the unemployment number doesn't mean what it used to. So we're going to watch global indications more. So this is the important thing to remember about the Federal Reserve. Everybody talks about the Federal Reserve and lowering interest rates, but the Federal Reserve has two effects. They can lower interest rates in the short term and the short end of the yield curve, but they also affect the value of the dollar. And that's the most important thing the Federal Reserve is doing now is I think they're coordinating with other central banks to manage the price of the dollar, because if the euro gets expensive or the yen gets expensive, that affects global trade, because if American goods are more expensive or cheaper, that affects how much stuff gets imported or exported out of the U.S. So I think this has way more to do with the currency effect than it does the aggregate level of domestic interest rates.
All right. He's Brian Battle, Performance Trust Capital Partners. Brian, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Dan.
And he joins us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
The critics of income inequality say they are for social justice. But what does that mean? It means that if you're really productive, if you work hard, create lots of wealth, and make a lot of money, you're doing something bad. You're creating inequality. So what's fair? Well, what's fair is the government take a bunch of your money and give it to other people. Why do they deserve it? Because they didn't create much wealth. That's what it comes down to. Social justice says to punish people who've done nothing wrong for the sake of other people who have not been wronged. On the other hand, justice says to punish people for the wrong they've done to others. To learn more, visit ARIradio.com. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Yaron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ARIradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
If you want to work until you drop, reduce your standard of living in retirement, or lose more of your hard-earned money in the stock market, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to generate a steady, predictable income, I'm talking real wealth and financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. A free report is now available that reveals the money-making secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. It reveals how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and wealth-building power without risking your money in the Wall Street casino. To get your free special report, visit bankonyourself.com. That's bankonyourself.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Who wants to meet me at the State of Illinois building at 4 o'clock for the Chicago Teachers Rally at 8:08?
And later, John Stossel will be here to tell us about that third-party candidate. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Dave Stewart filling in once again for Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, that's the story we're watching most today. Chicago teachers are beginning their one-day strike. Also, Harper College laying off people because of budget problems. All that coming up after Fox News on AM 560, The Answer, WIND Chicago, where it's 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. The unemployment rate ticks back up as more people re-enter the workforce looking for a job. Fox's Janico Solo details the Just Out Jobs Report live.
Dave, this is a mixed report, and there are signs the job market is getting stronger. 215,000 new jobs were created mid-March, more than expected. The unemployment rate increased to 5%, but that's likely a sign of more people entering the workforce. The labor participation rate increased to 63%. Jobs were created in healthcare, education, and the service sector, and incomes increased. Dave?
Jenny, thank you. On Wall Street, stock futures are down about 100 for the Dow. Trying to make peace with the Republican establishment, Donald Trump has met with the head of the GOP National Committee. This says Fox Business has a new poll that has him trailing Ted Cruz by 10 points in Wisconsin 4 days before that primary.
That lead is even bigger among several key demographics, notably among white evangelical voters, a voting bloc that Trump has consistently beaten Cruz with. In the Badger State, though, nearly half of white evangelical voters go for Cruz.
Fox's Garrett Tenney. Cruz also has a big edge among women voters. That same Fox poll gives Democrat Bernie Sanders a 5-point lead over Hillary Clinton in Wisconsin. He's dead, so investigators are doing what they can to figure out the motive for the man who opened fire and killed a Virginia state trooper during a training exercise at a Greyhound bus station yesterday.
Trooper Chad Dermeyer, former Marine, was training for a team within the Virginia State Police that is in charge of drug interdiction, criminal interdiction, when he encountered this suspect. And police still don't know why the shootout started within about 30 seconds.
Fox's Leland Vittert on the scene in Richmond. 2 others were wounded but expected to survive. Police have not released the gunman's name but say he has a criminal history. A federal judge has overturned Mississippi's ban on gay couples adopting children, ruling it as unconstitutional, ordering the state to stop enforcing it. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Good morning. It's 41 degrees in Chicago at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. I'm David Stewart. Cloudy, breezy, cooler today with a possible shower and a high of 50. Chicago teachers have formed picket lines at schools this morning, beginning their one-day strike to protest the lack of a state budget and what they call the district's unfair cutting of their compensation. Last week, Governor Rauner called the strike illegal.
Children in Illinois should come first. The taxpayers should be protected, and the law should be honored.
The union chief, Karen Lewis.
If there's anything illegal and immoral, it's what he's doing. You know, he's holding the budget hostage until he gets what he wants. He's the petulant, recalcitrant child.
School Chief Forrest Claypool says striking teachers will not be disciplined, but they won't be paid, and he said legal action against the unions possible. Harper College in Palatine plans to eliminate 62 full and part-time positions and lay off 19 full-time and 10 part-time employees effective June the 30th. They attribute the moves to the state budget impasse. The positions being eliminated include teachers as well as administrative, technical, professional, maintenance, and security jobs.
Who gotta go?
Activists upset after it was revealed that the officer charged in the murder of Laquan McDonald is working again. Protesters gathered outside the Chicago Fraternal Order of Police Officers yesterday to demand the dismissal of Jason Van Dyke. The union hired the officer to perform janitorial work. A Harvey man will be spending the rest of his days behind bars for killing a Metro police officer. Gemetric Nicholson sentenced to life after he was convicted in the murder of Officer Thomas Cook in 2006 at the Harvey Metro station. A Chicago doctor will evaluate the health of former House Speaker Dennis Hastert before his sentencing for financial crimes to cover up hush money payments. A federal judge appointed geriatric specialist Dr. Robert Golden to evaluate claims that Hastert's health began a steep decline just days after he pleaded guilty. In sports, the Bulls came back to beat the Rockets last night, 103-100, and the Hawks are in Winnipeg tonight. AM 560 News Time, 8:04. It's time for the AM 560 Business Beat, sponsored by Turnkey.pro. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, General Electric is selling another piece of its financial business. GE is selling a majority stake in Poland's BPH Core Bank. The buyer is Alior Bank. General Electric is selling financial holdings to focus on its industrial business. It just asked the Federal Reserve to remove it from too big to fail restrictions. This is earnings season, the time of year for company report cards. It could produce the most negative results in a decade. MarketWatch says nearly 1/5 of the companies in the S&P 500 expect to fall short of Wall Street estimates. The reason appears to be the stronger dollar, which makes it more expensive for companies to do business in other countries. China's Anbang Insurance is withdrawing its offer for Starwood Hotels after a bidding war with Marriott. Anbang cited various market conditions but did not explain. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
AM 560 News Time, 8:05. Where are the cars? We'll have the answer in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
When did Republicans lose their backbone, their guts, their conviction? Some will say they stood up to Obama. That's easy. But who stood up to their own party? That's Marlin Stutzman. Marlin said no to the establishment by voting against John Boehner. And he fought sweetheart deals on both sides by voting against the omnibus. Because politicians refuse to get it done, Marlin authored the only conservative budget that actually balances. And to keep the Washington crowd from getting cozy, Marlin is fighting for term limits to toss the career politicians out. It's not good enough to just vote for candidates who say they're conservative. We need leaders who have the guts to act like one. Marlin knows when Republicans bend, America breaks. Stand strong, Marlin. Conservative Marlin Stutzman for Senate.
I'm Marlin Stutzman, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Stutzman for Senate.
CertaPro painters are here for every stage of your life, from moving into a new home, creating the ideal nursery, to reinventing your living space. CertaPro painting experts create the perfect setting while you do life. They came to our home and brightened our walls and our moods so very quiet they wouldn't wake a baby. But the best part? They clean up after themselves so you don't have to do it. And now that spring is here, it is the perfect time to spruce up your home's exterior. Take a look at your home. Do you see chipping, peeling, fading? Well, leave it to CertaPro painting experts to refresh, renew, and protect your biggest investment, your home. Now is the time to call for your free estimate and schedule your exterior painting project. 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA. That's CERTA with a C. Or visit CertaPro.com today, CertaPro.com. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-5125. That's 1-800-467-5125. 1-800-467-5125. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
At 8:08, a check of the traffic from the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center in Jim Talamonte.
David Adams Tollway westbound slow from the Devon Toll to Toohey after an earlier stall. Eastbound it's fine. The only other tollway problem is the northbound tri-state. It's heavy as usual from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Eden's delay free. Kennedy. Delay start at Kimball. 33 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 25. About Eisenhower, it's now an hour from Thorndale to the post office and 47 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 31 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 39 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound clear. Ryan is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive, southbound stop and go Belmont to Fullerton, northbound heavy from the Stevenson to Soldier Field. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now your forecast, a service of aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers, high of 52, then an evening rain or snow shower in spots, otherwise partly cloudy tonight with a low 30. Then tomorrow, winds gusting past 50 miles per hour, partly sunny with a high 45. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
It's 40 at the Lakefront, 41 Midway, 42 at O'Hare. Next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
I especially feel bad for the teachers because, I mean, they won't be getting any pay.
We have AP testing coming up in May, and the AP test doesn't change the date. So therefore, our AP classes, like our curriculum, has to keep on going.
Well, it could be that I misspoke, but this was a long, convoluted subject. We talked about Catholicism and his religion, and Chris went back and forth about that, and this was a very long, convoluted discussion.
I am so sick. I am so sick of the Sanders campaign lying about me. I'm sick of it.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So who stands with Chicago public school teachers? Who thinks the subsidy should be bigger? The headline today in Chicago is the headline that should be every day in Chicago. The overwhelming majority of 390,000 Chicago public school students will not have access to a quality education. That's the headline today. It's the headline every day in Chicago.
Not all schools.
What did I say?
Well,
the overwhelming majority.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Don't get testy over there.
Well,
just,
it's words have meaning.
I know they do, but then I get accused of being a teaching basher because of things that are said on this program. Where our school, we are one of the top 10 performing schools, and that's why I live in the community where I live.
Have those people that...
But not everybody has that same opportunity.
Well, right. I know. And who's the one that wants to provide opportunity to children so they're not discriminated against based on their household income and address? Those people that don't hear, that you talk to, that think that if you have a conversation about one of the worst performing school systems in the country, you're a teacher basher, those ignoramuses, or people like me who are trying to end discrimination against disproportionately minority children and give them the same opportunity that the well-to-do Jacobson kids have.
Oh, yeah, right.
Or the well-to-do Proft kids had in Wheaton. Or the well-to-do children of Tiny Dancer or Barack Obama. Or 40% of CPS teachers who send their children to private school. How about that? Who wants to stand with the teachers?
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. Well, today, the day of action, teachers are already picketing in front of the schools, and they're rotating, Dan. Every hour, different teachers are rotating, and that's why some schools don't look as if they have huge crowds in front of them. They've asked parents and students to join them. And the big news is at 4 o'clock, everyone's going to become part of a large-scale rally with other labor groups in front of the Thompson Center, and then they're going to take it to the streets and march around the loop and stop traffic and maybe get arrested. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, I will be in attendance with my Che T-shirt on and my copy of the Marx and Engels Reader, and I hope to get some time at the wheel to offer some thoughts on this important day as well, where I get poked in the chest by a bunch of people that demand I sign a blank check, because that's what Karen Lewis is demanding. I say this all the time, but we have to continue to repeat it because some people are beyond instruction. Not an attack on teachers, not an attack on police officers, on firefighters. It's a description of the inexorable math that's associated with CPS finances, that's associated with CTU, with Chicago finances more generally, and the state of Illinois finances even more generally than that.
And here's Karen Lewis, and she wants to remind us of something.
The average person out here does not understand that we do not get Social Security. They don't care about our pensions. We had to build a coalition for this.
Mm-hmm.
But how effective really is a one-day strike? It's not. It's a waste of time for them, and it's a waste of my children's time because they should be in the classroom learning.
Well, again, and by the way, in terms of all these teachers, and look, it is the rank and file teachers that are joining Karen Lewis out there, that are marching to her beat like the Pied Piper. And so let's ascribe some responsibility to people taking this position. And let's talk about the position they're taking. The compensation level, the strike. Why are they striking again? Because they got what they wanted last time. They rolled Tiny Dancer, so they're not disincentivized to do it again.
And he gave them money that we don't have.
Well,
promised them salaries that, I mean, he's robbing Peter to pay Paul. So
one party's been in charge for 100 years. That party is the party to which Karen Lewis belongs. That party is the party to which I suspect a majority of Chicago public school teachers belong. So I'm sorry, I'm the bad guy.
Yes, you.
I'm the fall guy. Me and Bruce Rauner, who's been there for 14 months. It's all
his fault.
It's all Bruce Rauner's fault. Is that right? Is Karen Lewis right? He's the recalcitrant, petulant child because he won't sign a blank check with other people's money financing that blank check either. Taxpayers are the bad guy in Chicago. Taxpayers are the bad guy, particularly with respect to CPS. That's Karen Lewis. And it's interesting to see how Karen Lewis is bringing in all the other professional grievers, Black Lives Matter, university employees that are also, neo-socialists, with the same perspective of give us more money because I do such an important job and the performance doesn't matter and the expense doesn't matter and how the state subsidizes it relative to other states doesn't matter. It's always more. How much more? Just more. And then when we run out of that, how much more do we want? Just more. And the taxpayer's the bad guy. And the people proposing structural reforms are the bad guys. Okay. Then I'll tell you what. I will not interject at all. I'll just be a passive observer. And you guys figure it out. And you'll see Chicago's population continue to hemorrhage. And you'll ultimately see the system formally seize up. Because, as I said, the math is not an opinion. It is inexorable. It's going to be visited upon these educators and everybody else. Jason in Arlington Heights, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. As a small business owner, I'm responsible for my own 401k, my own, anything that I'm going to do post-working, I'm responsible for. Has anyone ever proposed that we sort of freeze all pensions now and let's give teachers a bump in salary and then they're responsible for their own pensions, their own 401k. They need to make their own investment decisions. It's unsustainable, paying these pensions out. And I guess I understand the fact that you've put so many years into this, but let's freeze it.
Well,
give
right.
them a bump in salary and let them be responsible for their own retirement.
Thanks for the call, Jason. It has been proposed and it's been rejected.
And some suburban schools do that. Well, they pay into a 401k. I know someone that in a suburban school they did that. They didn't pay into the teacher's pension. They paid into a separate 401k.
I'd like to know what that suburban school is. Jim in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, it's a shame these guys don't make enough during their in their primary career as a teacher, supposedly, so that they have to take some time off today. They have to rotate. They can't even be there all day during their protest. They have to take some time off to get started in their real estate career, the second career that they do all summer, And when they're not learning how to teach kids or not teaching kids through the summer, they're out making more money.
Maybe some are. Thanks for the call, Jim. I mean, this isn't an attack on teachers. There's a lot of good teachers in CPS, too, and there's a lot of good teachers that have fled CPS, oh, by the way, as well as schools in the state of Illinois more generally because they can't do what they got into teaching to do, instill a love of learning into children because the system is not set up to educate children. And a lot of great young teachers figure that out and they go do something more productive with their lives. From their perspective, it's unfortunate, but it's also an indictment of the system that isn't discussed enough.
But
you talk to teachers who've left the system, and particularly Chicago, and they'll tell you what I just described because that's how I.
But a lot of them are staying because they want the pension.
Well,
they want the fat check at the end of the day.
Of course they do. Of course they do. And the system is set up. They're trying to maximize their earnings. I get it. But you also have to look at the numbers and recognize that it is unsustainable and be part of a prospective structural change. That is all that is being asked. I don't think it's too much. Rick in Downers Grove.
Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, I am a teacher basher, and it's because every time they go, and not just Chicago, but all over, because every time they go on, they always say, no, it's the union, not the teachers, not the rank and file. No, it's the teachers, too, because they go on strike, and I never heard one say, man, I hope this doesn't affect the real estate taxes of these people. Gosh, I hope it doesn't affect their retirement. They don't care. They want theirs, and they want theirs now.
Thanks, Rick. Don in Bloomingdale.
I'm so tired of these teachers saying they don't get Social Security. They know they negotiated that deal. They also don't get the 7.625% taken out of their check every week, which is added income. And you never hear them mention that.
Mm-hmm. They don't pay in and they don't get it. Right. Thanks for the call, Don. Yep. Jeff in Mount Prospect.
Hello. I find this whole subject hilarious. I find it hilarious because it never boils down to what is. And what is that the teachers just plain play blackmail. It's blackmail with the kids. They hang the kids out to dry simply with us, simply by saying, if you don't give me what I want, guess what? Your kids may have to stay home. And ultimately, that is the trump card, pun unintended, that rules the roost.
Thanks for the call, Jeff. Jordan in Forest Park.
Yeah, good morning, Dan and Amy. I think it's time for a completely different approach for educating these children that a lot of them really don't have much of a chance. And that's to bypass the city, bypass the union, and have a benevolent billionaire, maybe a Bill Gates, come forward and say, we're going to start a new system in Chicago. And we're going to go out and get the best teachers around the country to do this. It'll be called the Chicago Experiment. For a goal of having the best educated kids in the country, and I think that would have some legs. Now, based on the Chicago budget crisis, I think the mayor would be for this too.
Oh, well,
because you could have billionaires' money doing this, plus private money, and that would help their pension issues.
Thanks for the call, Jordan. The mayor is too focused on politics and the union. He's not interested in educating children. He's demonstrated that over 6 years. But here's the thing. There is somebody doing that. There's a lot of people doing actually. Mark Zuckerberg is building schools, and they're coming to Chicago. So there is going to be competition, and there is a proposal at the state level to allow for what occurred in Florida, which funded a bunch of opportunity scholarships for children that were in bad schools to go to better schools, a corporate tax credit. And as well as an individual tax credit, so people can make a donation that they can deduct from their taxes to support opportunity scholarships for children stuck in the majority of these horribly performing CPS schools. So competition is coming. This is not going to be status quo in Chicago for much longer, one way or the other.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Cloudy skies right now, scattered thunderstorms throughout the day, and it will be windy, a high of 65 degrees, and then tonight a low of 39. And Saturday, morning showers, windy, a high of 45. And on Sunday, it looks terrific for the Shamrock Shuffle. It'll be mostly sunny, windy, a high near 60 degrees. Any good news on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, right now, Amy, we're not seeing any issues related to the teachers' union protest. You can expect that to change this afternoon with the major protest scheduled in the Loop area. Expect potential street closures and potential gridlock in the Loop area. Right now, things are quiet, even after some demonstrations around schools this morning. And that Shamrock Shuffle, of course, will be a big traffic issue on Sunday morning. Right now, the Edens has no issues at all. 19 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. Inbound Kennedy. Slow Sacramento to the Burn Circle. 30 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, but slower in the Express. Outbound, just a 2-minute delay, Lawrence to Sayre. The Eisenhower, 55 minutes, Thorndale to the Post Office. Outbound fine at 29. Stevenson, 39 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound fine at 34. Ryan is 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, slow 31st to Ogden with a crash in the left lane. Elsewhere, the tollways are light. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I'm Dan Proft with an upstream idea brought to you by the Illinois Policy Institute.
27. Illinois state employees, on average, receive total compensation 27% higher than their private sector counterparts. State employees made nearly $4,000 more in wages and $13,000 in benefits than private sector employees. More than half of state workers will retire before the age of 60 with a guaranteed state pension. The state is in a financial death spiral with ground impact imminent. So keep this in mind as Governor Bruce Rauner breaks off contract talks with AFSCME, the state's largest public sector union. AFSCME has been unwilling to give on its demands for annual step increases of 3.8%, in addition to annual general wage increases. The lowball estimate of the cost of what AFSCME demands is $1.6 billion. That's $1.6 billion more from Illinois families who already pay the highest property taxes in the nation. This is Governor Rauner's moment of truth. He ran for office saying he is not a politician. He said he is a businessman who will make the difficult decisions to turn around the state he loves. We're about to find out if that's true. For more Upstream ideas, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
If medications haven't helped you treat your depression, why haven't you tried TMS therapy offered by Theramind? Now there is a way to successfully treat your depression without the need for meds and their harmful side effects. TMS therapy is covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and Medicare. Don't continue to suffer needlessly. Call Theramind. Don't wait. Call Theramind now. 847-562-5868. The single greatest advancement to date in treating depression is TMS. It's an FDA-cleared, non-drug, safe, and effective treatment. TMS has already changed the lives of over 50,000 patients. Why not you? Visit TMSmind.com. Depression can be beaten, and without drugs. Call Theramind today, 847-562-5868, or get more info at tmsmind.com. That's Theramind at 847-562-5868, or online at tmsmind.com.
Hi, I'm Lex Howard, CEO of Balance of Nature. I occasionally take new customer calls, and often people tell me that they have been hearing our advertisements for years. What are you waiting for? Start now and begin experiencing the benefits of Balance of Nature in your life.
I actually believe that it is working because I went to have my thyroid TSH level checked and my T3 and 4, and in October originally it was at 3. My TSH was at 3.28, and Monday's test came out to 0.63. I do believe that it has something to do with it.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Hey, the security officers at your business are an extension of your business. Because they are, you got to have the best. Often the first person your customer meets is your security officer, so they need to be professional, friendly, and courteous. Hey, if you're having issues with your security provider, don't tolerate it. Man, call Guardian Security Services. They're friends of mine. They're at the top of their game, setting the bar for customer service for the past 41 years in Chicago. Easy to reach if you have questions. They pride themselves on a client retention ratio greater than 95% and the best training and vetting practices in the industry. Hey, if you're unhappy with your on-site security officer or doorman, hey, call Guardian Security Services. Get a free consultation and tell them Joe Walsh sent you. Right now, call 708-385-3300. That's 708-385-3300 or online at guardiansecurityinc.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy are talking about the Chicago teachers protest rally today, show strike, if you will. And by the way, this is not just unique to Chicago. The TRS, Teachers Retirement System, that deals with the rest of teachers in the state outside the city of Chicago, it's less than 50% funded. In fiscal year 2015, 10% of the state's budget, $3.5 billion, went into TRS, and it still can't keep up with the obligations that it is accruing. So this is a problem across the board. And by the way, pension pickups, which is the issue at bar between the Chicago teachers and the school system, that happens in suburban districts too, to varying degrees. Let's go to Neil in LaGrange. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
How you doing? I've got two issues, or 2 points. First one is, why in the world should the taxpayers of the state of Illinois pick up or bail out the teacher or the pension systems in Chicago when for 10 years the union leadership and the teachers knew that they were taking these pension holidays. Okay? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Thanks.
And those numbers that you were talking about yesterday, it just makes the point.
Yeah.
The other side of the coin is the school district that my kids go to. It's a small public school district, but they, the board, they watch their pennies. Our pensions are funded at 111%. When the auditors came in, a couple months ago, they kind of didn't know how to give the presentation because they said most of the public entities that they deal with, the pensions are so far in the soup that so that's the other side where, with the boards, they do what they're supposed to do. There was a tech position that opened up.
Just Neil, I gotta get to another call. Thanks for the call, Neil. I appreciate the perspective. Jan and Wheaton, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi. Somebody called earlier about the 401k style. Mm-hmm. My understanding is there was a change in the law so that those hired after January 1st, 2011 in the suburban or non-Chicago schools could go 401k. Another point I'd like to make, and this is, let me give you a couple. Chicago teachers are better paid than suburban teachers. Let's try that one. Mm-hmm. And I know that in the suburban TRS fund, those who work 30 years or more and then retire end up with a starting pension that exceeds the average salary for actively teaching.
Yep, there you go. Thanks for the call, Jan.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
A beauty day to play 18, huh, Dale? 80 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. The forecast looks great for the next 3 days, too. Looks like we'll just schedule 3 more courses this week.
You've been pretty lucky that you've been able to spend some quality time in the sun. Something that you may not be so lucky with is the fact that 1 in 5 people will develop skin cancer in their lifetime. At Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, they know that most people are unaware of the effects that a lifetime of sun can have on their skin. If you've been sunburned in your lifetime, it's time to have your skin checked out. Call Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates at 855-560-SKIN. or visit skinhealthpros.com. The doctors at Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates have your skin health covered. Skin cancer kills, so today's the day to get your skin checked. Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, 855-560-SKIN. or visit skinhealthpros.com. Healthy skin, healthy body, healthy, happy you.
Turnkey IT is a name you've come to know and trust at AM 560. Turnkey IT provides small businesses with IT resources that are normally reserved for Fortune 500 companies. They provide world-class network installations and ongoing IT support for fixed monthly rates based on the size of your network. In fact, Turnkey IT has a program that fits the needs of your business. Turnkey IT understands that your business matters, and keeping you focused on it makes all the difference in the world. Best of all, their service can save you time and money. Turnkey IT can give you the peace of mind that backups are being executed, email is always available, files are secure, and you've got someone to call when you need help. Turnkey IT has people who are professional, friendly, on time, and a live person even answers the phone 24 hours a day. So visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's turnkey.pro.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, there is a third-party candidate for president, and John Stossel will be here to give us all the details. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Dave Stewart in for Mike Scott.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. 42 degrees in Chicago at 8:32 on AM 560. The Answer. Cloudy, breezy, and cooler today. Showers possible and a high of 50.
What do we want?
Pickets reported around a number of Chicago schools as the one-day strike by teachers gets underway. Those picket lines will morph into rallies around the city and a planned massive gathering later this afternoon in the Loop. For parents wondering what to do with their children, CPS Chief Forrest Claypool says there are options.
We have a simple message. If you are a CPS family and you need a safe place for your children, our schools, parks, libraries, and safe haven churches are ready.
Claypool says there will be legal action against the union, but individual striking teachers will not be disciplined. 4 people were killed, 7 others, including a 16-year-old, wounded in West, South, and North Side shootings since yesterday. 1 man was shot and killed after he attempted to rob 2 people in the Uptown neighborhood late yesterday. One of the victims did hand over his cell phone and wallet, but when the robber demanded their car, the other victim pulled out a gun and shot the robber several times. A man from Aurora has been identified as the gunman who shot and killed a Virginia state trooper yesterday afternoon at a bus station in Richmond. Virginia State Police Superintendent Stephen Flaherty talks about how the shooting of Chad Dermeyer played out.
During the course of talking with the male subject pulled out a handgun and shot Chad multiple times. The male subject continued firing his weapon as two other state police troopers returned fire.
The gunman's been identified as John Brown of Aurora. He has a long record of various offenses and is said to have had a long history of anger at police. He was killed during that exchange of gunfire. A federal judge has issued an arrest warrant for indicted former Congressman Mel Reynolds for not coming back to Chicago from South Africa to face the court in a tax case. Reynolds told the judge in an open letter that he is staying abroad to care for his ailing daughter. In sports, the Bulls came back to beat the Rockets 103-100 tonight in Winnipeg. Rather, that was last night. Tonight in Winnipeg, the Hawks take on the Jets. The news and service of CiCi's Pizza. Ready for an adventure in flavor? CiCi's brings 3 new flatbread pizzas to the unlimited buffet. Try the new Spinach Alfredo, Chicken Bacon Club, and Honey Barbecue Chicken. More flavor to explore for the same great value. Just $5 and change. Only at CiCi's. Better believe it. AM 560 News Time, 8:35. How bad's the traffic? We'll have the answer in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Mike Gallagher does the math after many Super Tuesday.
Ted Cruz needs to win about 75% of the remaining votes in order to get the 1,237. Trump needs to get anywhere between 50 and 60% of the remaining votes, somewhere in that ballpark. It's mathematics. It's just math. And anything could happen.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Here Maps, the app that turns your phone into a car navigation system with offline maps and turn-by-turn guidance. Get it now at here.com/guide.
Running a business is tough these days. From a president who claimed it
You didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
to the mountains and mountains of taxes and regulations here in Illinois. But many companies, big and small, have persevered, serving their customers and communities. If that's you and your business, then AM 560 The Answer wants to celebrate your success and tell your story. It's the AM 560 Business Tour 2016, presented by Signature Bank. This spring, Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson will be broadcasting live from businesses in Illinois with success stories of overcoming the odds and thriving in spite of the challenging business environment. If your company fits this description, then we want to know about it so we can consider broadcasting from your location. Tell us your story. Visit 560theanswer.com/business and submit your information. That's 560theanswer.com/business. Sponsored in part by Flex Execs Management Solutions.
When you've got a specific job to do, you bring in the specialist, the edger, the trimmer, the leaf blower, other tools that end with Good thing there's VP small engine fuel, now just $4.99 at Napa, with no mixing, no measuring, and no mess. $4.99 VP ready-to-use small engine fuel burns cleaner, so all your lawn equipment runs smoother, better, and other adjectives that end with That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 4/30/16.
Measure twice, cut once. Words to live by. Whether you're framing a house or getting a pair of Red Wing work boots. That's why at a Red Wing shoe store, we take the time to precisely measure your feet. Both feet. And not just the length and width either. We use the latest digital tools to measure your arch and even your pressure points for a truly custom fit. It's our way of making sure your boots fit your feet as well as your job. Red Wing Shoes. Work is our work.
8:37, a look at the Friday morning rush hour from the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center in Jimtown, Lamonti.
Thank you, David. The Edens is looking great right now. It's a 19-minute drive either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. On the inbound Kennedy, traffic is heavy from Sacramento into the Burns Circle. Looking at a travel time right now of about 30 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, but it's heavier in the Express. Outbound, there's a 2-minute delay from Lawrence to Sayre. On Eisenhower, stop and go Harlem to California. 45 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 5 at 29. Stevenson, 39 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 5 at 34. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishopport, all clear. Lakeshore Drive has a 5-minute delay southbound Belmont to Fullerton. Northbound, it's now okay. Tri-State southbound, heavy Cermak to Ogden with a crash in the left lane. Northbound, slow Plainfield Road to Ogden. And from the Reagan Tollway to 290. Eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go 53 to Gulf Road. Westbound, heavy Lee to Dewey. The other tollways are fine. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Now your forecast, a service of aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Mostly cloudy, breezy, cooler today. Couple of showers, high 50. Evening rain, then partly cloudy and colder tonight, low 31. Very windy, partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 45. Right now, 41 at O'Hare. Next news update at 9 o'clock. Now more of Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Ayn Rand Institute and the Yaron Brook Show. Heard Saturday afternoons at 4 here on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, don't be caught without the facts. Listen to me, Sean Hannity, this afternoon at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And boy, oh boy, if there was ever a year for the Libertarian Party to make its mark at the national level, 2016 could very well be it, assuming the matchup is Trump versus Hillary, which is still a pending matter, but certainly possible. And last go around, you had former two-term New Mexico Governor Gary Johnson was a Libertarian candidate. He is running again, but there is a challenge. There's a contested primary for the Libertarian nominee. Gary Johnson, again, along with tech entrepreneur McAfee, the software.
Yeah, wasn't he in some trouble in Belize?
He's kind
for
of
some nefarious activity.
McAfee is a little bit like, he strikes me as like the Trump of the Libertarian Party.
He's flamboyant.
Yeah, and he was involved in, he was arrested on drug-related charges in Belize. Then he was wanted in questioning with a murder of an American expat in Belize. Then he fled. So I don't know, we'll have to get the drill down from John Stossel. And then also there's a third candidate, Libertarian Republic founder Austin Peterson. And John Stossel is going to host a forum, which will air in two parts, beginning tonight at 8 p.m. Chicago time, where he's going to query these three Libertarian Party candidates on the range of issues that the next president will face. Should be very interesting. And we're now happy to be joined by Fox Business Network's John Stossel. John, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So, the idea of a contested election for the Libertarian Party, this is kind of a new development.
Is it? I'm no historian of the Libertarians. They've always had a convention.
Well, I mean, a contested election for the nomination such that it actually draws the attention of, say, for example, a John Stossel and Fox Business Network to host a debate.
Well, on the other hand, I wasn't at Fox Business the other year to host the debate. Maybe there were great close challenges before. I know in this case, well, poll the audience, and they are pretty split between these three guys.
Yeah. So what's your line of questioning going to be? What's your first question out of the box? National security?
Well, you can't telegraph it.
Well, yeah. Give us a little tease.
I'll telegraph it. What the hell? Okay. But first, I'm going to give you a hard time when you say, it could be Trump and Hillary. If you look at the betting at electionbettingodds.com, it's certainly going to be Hillary, it's very likely going to be Trump. He's at 56%. His closest competitor, Cruz, is below 20%.
Well, I'm hoping for an indictment and a contested convention on both sides or either side. Just somebody gets arrested and somebody has a contested convention.
I trust the people who put their money where their mouths are.
There you go.
All right. So tonight, what are you going to start off with?
Well, I think it's got to be, in my opinion, the things that people always say about libertarians. You're soft on defense. You're not going to make us safe. And people confuse it with libertine, and they think, you guys just want to get high, and you don't care if everybody else gets high because of support for decriminalizing drugs.
And what about John McAfee? I mean, what can you tell us how he got out of his legal troubles in Belize and is able to join you tonight?
Yeah, right.
I will say to him that if you Google him, he sure sounds flaky. He says, hey, they accused me of murder and drug manufacturing.
Nothing to see
but
here,
that
folks.
was look, he invented this software, McAfee antivirus software, which gives you the annoying notifications on your computer. He's no longer with the business. And that made him rich. And from that, he says that this crooked government was looking for a $2 million contribution. And when he said no, they trumped up charges. So he left the country, went to Guatemala. Guatemala arrested him for entering illegally and deported him to the United States. So,
and now he wants to be president.
Yeah.
And now he wants to be president, and he would be better than Trump or Hillary.
Never convicted. Never convicted. That should be a very...
And never seriously accused. No one's even trying to extradite him.
Well, that should be very colorful tonight. Now, Gary Johnson, I know, as I mentioned, he ran previously. I think I saw one hypothetical matchup between Trump, Hillary, and Johnson, and he was polling at like 11%, which is about 4 times where the Libertarian candidate normally polls. And he actually, I've spoken with him before. I mean, this is like a serious guy. Not only was he a 2-term governor, he was very successful as an entrepreneur as well. And he really does deserve a look.
He definitely does. He got elected twice as running as a Republican in a Democratic state. He balanced the budget. He vetoed lots of stupid bills. He cut spending. He would be so much better than Trump or Hillary. But he comes across as sleepy, which I will say to him tonight.
And what about Austin Peterson?
He also is he's articulate about libertarian issues. He's young. I will say to him, you're 12 years old. How can you be running for president? But he is 35. He seems 12 to me because I'm old. But he is legally old enough, and he'll point out that Jefferson, Hamilton, young men have done a lot for this country.
And what the Libertarian Party more generally? I mean, do you sense that the party apparatus, such as it is, sees the opportunity that this election cycle presents and is going to try and do more in terms of resources or infrastructure building than perhaps they've done in the past?
I think they always do as much as they can. I haven't interacted with the party machinery. I don't interact with party machineries, and I don't know much about the Libertarian one. Except that we pick these 3 candidates because the Libertarian Party poll had them in first, second, and third. So I apologize to the candidates 4 through 12.
Now, your forum tonight, are you going to have audience interaction with the candidates?
Yes. And Fox anchor also interaction. Bill O'Reilly recorded a question, and Dana Perino and Judge Napolitano and others.
And so give us the details on this. I know I mentioned tonight at 8 p.m. is the 8 p.m. Chicago time, first installment, but it's 2 parts?
2 hours. The second half will run next Friday at 8 p.m. Chicago time.
Do you think do these people, some people don't take Libertarian candidates legitimately. Do you think that this is going to be successful this year, considering you have Trump and Hillary most likely to be the other 2 challengers?
Well, when I saw that, it's just one poll, true, where Johnson got 11%, and when he last ran, he only got 1%. I would say, and 75% of the people said they don't know enough about him. Right. So I was hoping once people get to know these candidates, that yes, they'll elect a Libertarian. But I'm also told that polls that post Republican, Democrat versus X third party, they always do pretty well. And that does not mean that he'll get that many votes.
Well, if nothing else, expanding the parameters of debate, which is always a good thing and which you've been doing for many, many years. He is Fox Business Network's John Stossel, moderating this Libertarian candidate forum or debate. Gary Johnson, John McAfee, and Austin Peterson are the 3 candidates. Again, Friday tonight at 8 p.m., and then you can watch the Brett Baer special on Fox News Channel right after that.
We've got it all planned out for you.
2 hours, and then the second hour will be broadcast next Friday. John Stossel, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, a bizarre crime out of the third world state, otherwise known as Florida. They're at it's like a third world country. But first, here's your forecast today. Cloudy skies right now, scattered thunderstorms throughout the day. Will be windy, a high of 65 degrees. Tomorrow, morning showers, otherwise windy and cloudy, a high of 45. And on Sunday, plenty of sunshine in store for you. No rain in the forecast, perfect for that shamrock shovel, and a high near 60 degrees. Travel times, how is the inbound Kennedy, Jim?
I mean, it's not too bad. There's some freedom on the roadways right now. The Kennedy does have delays from Sacramento into the Burn Circle, but 35 minutes O'Hare to downtown. This time, not too bad. It's 25 from Montrose and 25 on the Express as well. Outbound, clear, 20 minutes downtown to O'Hare. The Edens has no delays to report. Inbound Eisenhower, it's improved a lot. Delays from Harlem to California, 45 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound fine at 29. The inbound Stevenson has just a 3 or 4 minute delay from the Ryan to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, it's good. The Ryan slow starting at 47th. 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57 clear, Bishop Ford inbound, about a 5-minute delay. Approaching 115th, there is a report of a tire coming off a vehicle there. And outbound, it's heavy in that area, too. On the Tri-State southbound, slow Cermak to Ogden with a crash in the left lane. Northbound, slow Plainfield Road to Ogden. Eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go 53 to Gulf Road. And 53 northbound, slow Beesterfield to Higgins. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Freedom! The King and I is coming to the Civic Opera House. Hear your favorite Broadway tunes, Shall We Dance, Getting to Know You, and more at the beautiful Civic Opera House. It's opening April 29th for a limited engagement. So visit lyricopera.org, lyricopera.org for tickets, or go download the AM560 mobile app. We're giving away a pair of tickets through that mobile app. Download or visit our app now to register for your chance to win 2 tickets to the King and I coming to the Lyric Opera House on April 29th. Good luck.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Did you know color is vital to your health? I'm talking about the color of the food you eat. A colorful diet is a part of staying well because many nutrients are color. Eating a wide variety of fruits and vegetables provides your body with the diverse chemistry it needs to heal itself and stay well.
Now ask yourself, how many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day. My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Life's full of unknowns, some unpleasant, like an unexpected accident or work injury that can happen to any of us. When the unexpected happens, you need an experienced and capable law firm that excels in personal injury and workers' compensation and can garner you an excellent settlement. With a combined 75 years experience, Feed the Children business benefactor Stordo, Finn, and Rosinski share your values and take pride in their friendly, professional approach. Personal injury and workers' compensation matters can take a toll on you. That's why Stordo, Finn, and Rosinski strive to treat clients like family and provide a quick response to your questions. You'll always speak with an attorney. Call Stordo, Finn, and Rosinski, the People's Lawyer, for your free initial consultation at 630-860-5520 or visit peopleslawyer.info. That's 630-860-5520 or online at peopleslawyer.info.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
All right, shot in the junk.
All right. So there's a woman in Melbourne, Florida, who was upset with her husband because she found out he was having an affair.
Uh-huh.
So she was going to shoot him in the face. This is what she told the sheriff's police. She was going to shoot him in the face first, but then she thought, you know what? I just want to make him feel pain. I don't want him to kill him. So instead of shooting him in the face, she went for the knee. And she did shoot him in the left knee, but the bullet, Dan, shot up through the skin up and into the testicle.
Ow.
So he's got a bullet in his naughty bits this morning. His condition, his condition is unknown at this time, but it's not supposed to be life-threatening. But she's going to receive a stiff penalty for what she's done. She's been arrested. She confessed it. At least she didn't deny it. And she handed over the weapon to authorities when they arrived. But hey, guys, don't cheat on your wives or your girlfriends. You might get shot in the nut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is happening for real.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. Here's a suggestion so you can avoid the prospect of being shot in the private parts by your betrothed. A chair that hugs you back.
Oh, where could I buy you one of those?
A South Korean designer, Lee Eun-kyung, created a furry sofa with soft, flexible arms, like on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Oh, like
which,
okay.
Yeah. Which
Give
are
a picture?
the flexible arms are meant to give the feeling of being held by a loved one. Because the sofa gives the feeling of being alive, it will hold you warm and soft like your mother, friend, and a lover. And a lover? Or how about or? Mother, friend, and a lover? How about or a lover?
It's a very big couch. I'm looking at images of it right now.
Without feeling lonely. The free hug sofa took 2 years to create. This is perfect for my lonely guy lifestyle. This will go nicely with my cardboard cutout friends that I have in my apartment when I pretend I'm having a party. So there's that, which is a nice touch, and it avoids gunplay with someone that you're dating or married to. How about that?
No, women, dames, women.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
CertaPro painters are here for every stage of your life, from moving into a new home, creating the ideal nursery, to reinventing your living space. CertaPro painting experts create the perfect setting while you do life. They came to our home and brightened our walls and our moods so very quiet they wouldn't wake a baby. But the best part? They clean up after themselves so you don't have to do it. And now that spring is here, it is the perfect time to spruce up your home's exterior. Take a look at your home. Do you see chipping, peeling, fading? Well, leave it to CertaPro painting experts to refresh, renew, and protect your biggest investment, your home. Now is the time to call for your free estimate and schedule your exterior painting project. 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA. That's CERTA with a C. Or visit CertaPro.com today, CertaPro.com. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
The following is a paid political announcement.
When did Republicans lose their backbone, their guts, their conviction? Some will say they stood up to Obama. That's easy. But who stood up to their own party? That's Marlin Stutzman. Marlin said no to the establishment by voting against John Boehner. And he fought sweetheart deals on both sides by voting against the omnibus. Because politicians refuse to get it done, Marlin authored the only conservative budget that actually balances. And to keep the Washington crowd from getting cozy, Marlin is fighting for term limits to toss the career politicians out. It's not good enough to just vote for candidates who say they're conservative. We need leaders who have the guts to act like one. Marlin knows when Republicans bend, America breaks. Stand strong, Marlin. Conservative Marlin Stutzman for Senate.
I'm Marlin Stutzman, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Stutzman for Senate.
Hey, the stock market may seem like a roller coaster ride, but your finances don't have to be. You may be wondering, is there another big correction on the horizon? If so, are you prepared, or are you at the mercy of stockbrokers if it happens? Let Online Trading Academy teach you how to navigate the stock market during these changing times. They offer professional trading and investing education for every skill level. They'll teach you a rules-based strategy, trading on knowledge, not speculations, so you can identify market changes before they happen. Reserve today your seat for a free half-day training course at their state-of-the-art education facility in Lombard. Call 877-OTA-CHI right now. Mention this ad, and Online Training Academy will send you a free home video study course.